Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the glorious Smite League finals of the upper division. Today we are here for Pikachu eSports versus the Big C. Pikachu arguably the favourites for this one. But before we go into that game, a quick reminder that Gloria eSports has expanded to the North American leagues. So if you are an American, you are looking to get some gems just for playing the game, then feel free to sign up, get yourself into that league, and get playing with a nice drafted team. Feel free to captain because we still need them. I am joined here tonight with Lana on the desk. Printers is doing production for us both. Lana, how are you this evening?
Good. New meta in the finals. This is going to be interesting. I'm hoping there's going to be some really spicy picks because no one knows what's going to be going on, and that's going to be complete chaos.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a very enjoyable one. I think we were both mentioning the transition to the rotating hunters earlier of Apollo and Chernobog both getting buffed. But we will see. I believe it will likely be Pikachu eSports in the driving seat tonight. They have lost a single game in the entire tournament. They were incredibly dominant throughout the season as well. In fact, the only team that they lost a point to was Dave's. Last time they played the Big C was a big 2-0 win. The Big C came through the losers brackets and actually lost in round 2 of the tournament, so losing to Goostra, who they then came back and beat in the losers bracket final to bring us into this final match here. And just important to note, that 1-0 is not a mistake. The team that goes through on the winning side of the bracket gets a 1-game advantage into the finals. Picks and bans, anything surprising you so far?
I mean, everything's going to be quite surprising just for the sole fact that it is the new meta. Obviously, it's quite changed up. We're no longer seeing stuff like Wukong, but we do have something like a Donza Burrow, which didn't get buffed, didn't get nerfed, nothing like that. So that's got to be some kind of a target ban. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's nice to see actually as well that there's a target ban from the team that has, the momentum, has the standings. That it doesn't matter who they're up against. They're thinking, well, they're giving them the respect. They can come and take games off us. We're going to take away their strong picks. And what is coming through is a Thor, something that hasn't changed one bit since the last patch. Coming in, potential for jungle, solo, or even support, or mid. Hell, Thor can go anywhere. This is a mega flex pick.
That's very true. I think, honestly, I really like him in solo. Honestly, sometimes more than jungle, just for the sole fact that he can dive the backline. Probably the best in the game, and I think he's not just the best late game if you're going to play him in something like solo. It is interesting, though, because we have a Jormungandr pick, and he got decently nerfed, so I'm really excited to see that along with the Apollo.
Yeah, I guess it's the safety, isn't it? The Jormungandr is just, you know what is there, you know how to lane with it. There are some nerfs, but it is going to do what it does. I do agree with you, I do prefer Thor solo as well. That extra power from the passive really allows him to dive effectively. Hachiman getting picked up though, not quite as safe as he used to be with the ultimate being nerfed, while Apollo, as we said, gaining those buffs. The Audacity passive has been increased on the projectile speed as well as the one. Having better movement on it, meaning that he has got a bit more of a lane presence now and a bit more kill potential compared to what he had before. Apollo was very susceptible to just being out-cleared in the past, and that left him susceptible to just being ran at. And Yamoja, another one, not really changed, but very strong, and I'm surprised it's got down to the third pick here for Pikachu eSports.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I really like the Yamoja into something like Apollo, because like you mentioned, that Apollo wasn't able to clear very much. Now he can. Now I honestly think he beats Hachi now at this point. With all the buffs that Apollo just got, he absolutely wins. I got like half health earlier in a casual. That was really fun and interactive. And he wasn't building power, so ow. And yeah, and Yamoja, I think that's so good because that's able to actually match the lane pressure. Unless they pick something that has a lot of power behind it, maybe something like Ares. He did just get buffed, and we were talking about it before coming in here, that he does a lot of damage, so maybe that's something that the Big C goes for, but we'll have to see. There also was that a Wheelish buff that came up earlier, so That's nice too, but no knockups. So.
No, instead there is a Cabraca, and we're gonna be taken down to Tremble Town. Especially with these changes, Cabraca now spending a lot more mana to activate those trembles, but having them up off of cooldown every 3 seconds base. And with the 2 returning mana to him, meaning that he's able to sustain his mana that little bit more now. I don't know if I like it into the Emoja. I guess you're looking to pick her off, because right now that's an Apollo and a Yorm that both are going to need to force ultimates to get out of the River's rebuke. Cabrakan isn't going to be able to do so. Wheelik's the only one who can safely do it without expending a big cooldown at the moment. Charon is that Charon or is that Thanatos? Am I being stupid? I'm immediately thinking Charon. It is Charon.
Yeah.
Being hovered here, too many skins, so it just
I will banish all evil from this world.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
it's weird. All Raven coming out. I mean, we can safely say now that this store is probably going to go into the jungle with these 2 picks that have been hovered, but the Charon, I don't know if I like it solo just because of the lack of clear. It has the early damage is quite frankly pathetic. And Raven coming through, yeah, something that's going to be able to clear safer. Could also go into the jungle if they did want to take this Thor into solo. I think that's potentially something they were considering before they locked the Charon. And Yu Huang, just a very safe god that can scale nicely into the mid and late game, leaves the Big C with their last pick here. So far though, Pikachu eSports draft, that is scary. That is an incredibly safe backline, an incredibly heavy dive frontline with the Thor, the Raven, the Emoja ability to trap. The Big C have got some nice engage of their own. The Cabrakan obviously does a lot of damage, a lot of positional lockdown, the same with the Jormungandr. My concern is how easy they're going to be able to get on to doing that in comparison. There needs to be a nice safe backliner here from the mid who can get out damage from afar, and I'm wondering what's going to be able to be picked up here for Raiden in mid.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, shout out to Pikachu eSports. I think that was probably one of the best mid picks you could have picked here, being Yu Huang. I mean, you want to be able to get out, and at the same time, you want to be able to get the CC immunity to get away from a Wheelish. So that was really perfect. What's interesting in this is this Hebo.
They want to kill.
Yeah. This is gotta be the complete dive comp. There is literally no other way of talking about it. I like that it has the synergy with the Wheelish. You can have the knock up into the Wheelish ultimate, and that's just going to be absolutely chef's kiss, because outside of that, they're in the Jormungandr. Well, I guess there's quite a few
Apollo 3.
besides Cobb. Yeah, besides Cobb and everything. Okay. Yeah, it's not bad. I like the idea with the Big C, but I think it's going to rely a lot on execution, while Pikachu eSports just has a lot more of a cohesive game plan. You kind of know what they're going to do, while the Big C is going to look for a lot of pick-off potential. But don't rule out that Cobb, because that is got to be one of the most annoying characters in the game right now, and I'm not even kidding you. Yeah, disgusting.
I mean, the trembles mixed in with then further trembles if he opts to go into the horrific emblem that trembles if they take damage. I mean, they might as well just be drunk at that stage. You're not going to be able to walk anywhere. It's going to be impossible. And hopefully that's going to be something. Yeah, it's going to be something that Albi's going to be looking for here. He has been to 3 finals so far within GSL. And how many do you think he's won, Lana?
I would hope 1.
You would be incorrect. Unfortunately for Albi,
Unlucky.
He has lost 0, and now he's going to hate me even more than when we played Civ the other day and I rushed him down at Barbarians. He's not having a good time with me at the moment, Albi. Let it be known, this isn't a personal attack. Printers told me to.
I mean, honestly though, I'm really excited to see both these comps. I think we gotta give it to Pikachu eSports here, but honestly, the Big C, if they can pull this off, if Albi can get that momentum and get into that winner energy that we would like to see from him, he can do some work on this Cabrakan, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, if he can corner camp, that's going to be great. But what we are now going to do is jump into the game. We're going to hand on over to the casters for this set, which are going to be Anthony Malum and Phoenix. I'm sure they're going to make an absolutely fabulous time for everyone watching. Let's crack on.
Thank you guys for the desk, and welcome to the Upper Division Grand Finals between Pikachu eSports and the Big C. My name is Anthony Malum, and I'm joined by Phoenix and Phoenix. It's one of the first games cast on a new patch between two talented teams on a huge stage.
Huge stage it is, and Pikachu looking to come out here really strong with his picks and bans and what happened in there. I love the Ravana pickup coming out into the Soul Lane, as well as the Thor in the jungle, two of the strongest from the previous patch. Now in this patch, not as strong, but still in the meta. And so I'm excited to see how this works coming in the Soul Lane as well as the jungle. How is this going to go ahead and work as far as late game and middle game goes?
Yeah, the middle and late game are, I mean, the last few patches, games have been marathons, and most of them can be completely turned around. You can feed your brains out for 35 minutes and manage to win it at 38. But a lot of times in these upper divisions, they kind of try to speed run through it. So there's a lot of different possibilities here. And something across the board, too, is these new recipes that you can start with, but there's no recipe for the Awilix.
Typically, that would be your bountiful bow, I believe is what it's called. And I just don't see it here. You see it on everyone else, and I don't really want to explain it too deeply, but you can see it right there on your screen. The dish is the big part, which is the cooldown it allows for a singular ability every 8 seconds. So it's a really quick cooldown, as beads already forced out in the mid lane from the Yuhuang.
Yeah, that was a close one there. You don't want to give up first blood, especially in a grand finals setting, and with a one game advantage that Pikachu eSports get from winning the winner's bracket. It's kind of, that's the race where every team feels like they're in. You want to get that advantage back. Now, Albie in a bit of trouble, getting poked out, but Cabrakan with those buffs having a bit of an advantage to get away and get back to safety in the tower.
I was going to ask you because it looked like it. I don't want to ask you exactly because I can't really be asking you questions. Osiris was a ban. It feels like it's season 1 Smite again. This is something that I haven't seen Osiris get banned in probably 6 years of my life of playing Smite.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And so, yeah, to see Osiris on that ban page as a priority ban is beyond me, but I understand exactly why that sickle going through through minions now to gods is one of the best buffs I've seen to a singular god almost ever, as well as the mitigation buff going on the back end of Osiris. I love that for Osiris, and I hope to see him continue to get banned, or I kind of want to see him get played because it has been, as I said, quite a long time since he has been in meta.
You want the Osiris. I'm still waiting on my first Karen game. I feel like every time I start pulling up Karen to make sure I've got the abilities locked down, the cooldowns looked up, it's always oh, JK, he's banned, or oh, we hovered him, but we're too afraid to pick him. So hopefully we get to see that this set too. We got a long time ahead of us. It's been a calm 2 minutes so far. The most aggressive thing we've seen is a jungle invade coming out from the big C, and that's saying a lot, because for such a calm start after what was almost a quick first blood in that mid lane, it's kind of interesting. Still looking for the first back from Verxa as well to pick up that free recipe.
Yeah, we wanted to get this recipe here at some point online, because the more you delay, the more you're not going to be able to cook it up as quickly. That you got to go through all 3 steps, 1, 2, and 3. But here's another invade. It's onto the Jormungandr this time.
The root was a bit off the mark, though, so Seagull should be all right. Actually going to be able to play defense on the blue buff with reinforcements on the way. Now Varus in some trouble, and Varus gone. First blood for Verxa, no recipe required. Also trouble for a WhatsApp user, and Raiden's going to get that one. So 2 kills go the way of the Big C to start off the Grand Finals.
That's how they needed to start it as well, because this is a 1-0 lead in the way of Pikachu eSports. These guys have not lost a singular set this entire season. Being 10-0 in the regular season and then losing 1 game in the entirety of the playoffs is a ridiculous stat to have on your side. You and I know a couple of people like that last season in the SDL. We know a couple from the GSL as well in previous seasons, but they did it really well this season, especially because look at where they are now. They can do this and they can lose this game and probably be, okay, no big deal. We lost 1 game. We're 1-1. We're back to equal flooring. It's just basically an 0-0 game again. But they probably would love to keep this lead, especially if you're Pikachu eSports right now. Let's just go ahead and just make this a 2-0 game. Let's go ahead and put the brakes right on these people and win this real quick.
2 level 5 encounters and an ultimate used by Albie, but that's not going to stop Pikachu eSports from going in. Slam down from Varus in response. It's going to find 2, and they're stunned out as well. That's going to be a kill for the Thor, and another one goes the way of Servant, so Albie hits the Grayscale 2. That ties us up at 2-2.
And that's what they had to do. So quickly was that lead in the way of Big C. I was like, oh man, this looks like it might actually be a really competitive game, but a gank in the left lane from the Thor is all you need. And as I said, we were saying mid to late game, what's going to happen? I would call this a pretty earlier mid game because it's only 5 minutes into this game right now. But once Anvil of Dawn comes up onto a Thor, there you go. That's it. That's when you have the chance.
Yeah, I love using that Anvil of Dawn on cooldown. But really quick, as we come up on that 5-minute mark, we are going to take a very quick break to sort a couple things out. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back momentarily. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. Still a 2-2 game, still just over 5 minutes between Pikachu Esports and the Big C. And the duo lane and solo lane, respectively, brought us that action.
Junglers as well, making these rotations to make it happen. The invasion with the blue buff, the Big C was able to capitalize off of the overstepping of Pikachu, and then the opposite side was just the opposite situation. Pikachu Esports able to escalate off of Big C overstepping into the jungle towards actually what just dropped, the shield buff right there. I love the new totem situation, all these little spirits that are on the buffs. I can explain it real quickly, which is that you get to kind of pick and choose which buff you get on your buff. It's like an extra buff. It's kind of fun. And so you get lifesteal, you get cooldown, you can do whatever you want to. You might see it here at one of the blue buffs at one of the next invasions, a little bit about what's going on with that situation. But I'll explain it to you once you see more of it.
It's kind of like a choose your own adventure. It's a fun take. Is WhatsApp user getting some good poke and Seagull, but on the way is Verxa. Still no recipe in hand. We love a rebel in these parts, not conforming to the new recipe meta, and I respect that. But no gank will come from it, just the poke. This ADC matchup, I mean, as we can see, Petters isn't having the easiest time currently in that Apollo. It's an interesting one because Apollo got some serious buffs, and it kind of skyrocketed him to unarguable top of the meta.
Yeah, I would agree that Apollo is looking strong right now, but is he as good as a Rivers Rebuke in the mid lane? Doesn't seem like it, because there's the crushing wave that will just go ahead and get the wonderful looking Hubwa out of it. I think once again he came back to lane and he's almost already dead. That is crazy.
Wow.
That's what Hachiman can do. It's the reach that Hachiman has in the earlier part of the game that Apollo doesn't have. Apollo is much more of a more in your face and wants to slow you and everything like that. So I would expect to see that Apollo will start doing stuff past the 10, maybe 15-minute mark, and we'll see Hachiman just continue to dominate this lane up and until then.
I like the Aussie start too, mixing it up as a 3-man rotation over to the duo lane, but so I guess they're just really keeping that pressure on. They don't want to take any risk of the Apollo becoming a problem. So that's an interesting approach. It could work out, certainly. I mean, maybe they want to take the Freya approach as we see a jungle invade from Verxa, get the ultimate off, but a good response so far from Demon for defense, but has further to go, gets to that tier 2 tower, jump from Verxa, still looking for it, now has to chase under tower, but not going to find it. That's going to be safety for the Yu Huang, unless Hebo has something he can say about it, but won't be able to get the reach. So nice survival there from Demon.
What a play there. That was actually, I was for sure, okay, Featherstep's going to do a lot more damage here than it actually did. It feels like it just kind of poked very slowly, but will not get the kill. I like these rotations coming out from the Thor. Varus has been looking very good. We haven't seen a humongous Anvil of Dawn, which is what I said at 4 minutes, which you would expect to see at least 3 or 4, or maybe even, I think 3 would be the number you would want to see by now. But instead, we have seen absolutely nothing. Just a little bit of hovering over the left side of the map. They really don't want this Apollo to get to that 15-minute mark that I was just talking about. But speaking of not getting to that 15-minute mark, another blue invade will be coming out here from the Big C.
WhatsApp user gonna be still safe, but yeah, the blue buff invades are something to note. Same thing with the purple buff invades from the Thor. They're really committing to diving deep in the enemy jungle. I mean, the Awelix has basically been paying a mortgage on that right side deep jungle of Pikachu eSports, and it's funny, you know, like enough to afford a mortgage, not enough to afford a free recipe. It's a really interesting approach there from Verxa.
All I know is that you and I both can't afford a mortgage right now, and the market is super high. Not looking too good here in
Dropping
America. These are
yeah,
all,
I was gonna say dropping the NA lore.
Yeah, dude, dropping the NA lore. We got a lot of stuff going on over here, but we're happy to go ahead and
Trauma
announce some
dumping
of
on
these
GSL.
on the EU people. Yeah, they're out here looking happy though. In this game is a tower already down to about a quarter of the health on the left-hand side. I told you the Hachiman's gonna be able to poke out throughout the first 15 minutes of this game, and then Apollo might turn on. But speaking of not getting turned on, WhatsApp in a bad situation.
A blink forward and a feather step in WhatsApp going to absolutely be obliterated. Certainly not turned on in that soul lane. Goodbye, Verxa.
Goodbye, Verxa. And going up into the air is the Apollo. Gonna go ahead and pull out a little, what is pulling out as well, man. I'm doing some innuendos right now.
You know what? Take a short break. I'll state the game. You take a second. You take a breather. Take a sip of water. Reset. We're coming up on 10 minutes. It's 2-3. Pikachu eSports and the Big C. Gold lead certainly favoring the Big C. That goes alongside all the deep jungle invades we've seen. But Pikachu eSports has also been really putting pressure on that duo lane, keeping the Apollo out of the fight, and they target banned away Danzo, so maybe that was their plan from the get-go. Raiden gonna run into Varus and did some good damage, but with Demon there, we'll see how much they commit. Verxa not quite able to get there in enough time to make it a problem.
These blue buffs are coming back up again, and that's generally where we're seeing these two teams hovering over on the right-hand side of the map. I would expect that to happen again here, as we already see Verxa just standing at the back camps, ready for this blue buff a couple of seconds early. But speaking of not being ready, Trico having to dash out here, try to survive as much as he can, but a great Riptide. We'll pull him back in for just a second. Not going to be there. Go ahead and back off. But here is the jungler from Pikachu on the left-hand side, ready to possibly get an Anvil of Dawn. Can we see it now? Can you guys please give to Christmas?
You've really been asking for it, and with how much pressure they're putting on the duo side, it would make sense to use it on cooldown. We'll see if that's the play here, as right side Verxa goes aggressive. Another blue buff steal from the Big C, another purple buff waiting room for Pikachu eSports. Shards pop too, so absolutely just hard commit to the purple buff.
When I first picked up one of these recipes, I thought, I didn't watch the patch notes, so I thought it was a passive, you have to use it type of ability. And so I was pressing my 6 button every single time. I was like, why is it not working? Why is it not working? And now I understand. It's just a actual passive ability that's on your entire kit. I love the recipes, but still, I gotta say, Awelix does not have one. But speaking, there it is, well done.
And the combo is beautiful, but needed one more auto and beads as well, just in case of the mez, but it's not going to help get the kill. Matter of fact, look at the Apollo going aggressive, realizing somebody else was there, and going to turn around and be afraid of the scenario. That is not a grand finals play. Go die for it. Varus able to back. Petter is actually still in lane. Verxa trying to get a flank onto the Hachiman, who will step right into that gank with Albi following, but a dash through the knockup. A feather step catches. Beautiful wall to catch out the mounted archery. on the leave of mounted archery. Will he drop? Yes, he will. Albie gets the credit.
What a play there from Albie. Deserved the credit, in my opinion, but guess who's getting the credit in the mid lane is the Hugh Huang, who was solo capping the Stygian Beacon. If we haven't said too much about the Stygian Beacon, it's that there's now 2 tiers of the Stygian Beacon. You'll get the first 3, and then you'll get your Titan to get released, but then it resets after 5 minutes. A 5-minute cooldown will happen, and then it all happens again, and the Titan will get released after another 3. It's a pretty cool mechanic to make sure the game keeps moving forward for the team that has the lead, or possibly gives the opportunity for the team that's behind to get a lead themselves.
Would have absolutely loved to have that new beacon mechanic in the Middle Division Grand Finals to quicken up the games, but nice to see it make its way in regardless. And with so much emphasis on the dual lane, a beacon in the pocket of Pikachu Esports, they've got the tools to keep fighting. They've kind of successfully already taken the Apollo out of the immediate equation. Apollo has to spend a lot of focus in that dual lane. Without that tier 1 tower, Hachiman can farm aggressively. So if you're the Big C, what can you do in response to turn things? They put emphasis on solo, but it hasn't amounted to much.
The Big C do have a minor gold lead, but they need to continue to maintain it. So what they have to do here is keep utilizing the Oelix. The 2-0 Oelix is looking really strong, even though they don't have a recipe in their inventory, the only one without a recipe in their inventory in this entire game. Still, the strongest god or goddess on this entire battlefield right now will be this Oelix, and the most pivotal towards your fights is going to be, can you land those big feather steps and those big ults?
Ooh, let's take a look at solo, because another blue buff invade almost was the end of WhatsApp user. That was a close one again for the Raven. But with 2 people on right, that means Pikachu Esports is calling for the Gold Fury. It's at half health, but Albie, Petters, and Raiden in the ring. There's River's Rebuke to separate them out so they don't have an easy opening, but Pikachu Esports see the River's Rebuke, and instead of using it to help secure, they back off. So it's going to be a call off from the Gold Fury. Kind of an interesting combo of calls there to use the Rebuke, kind of really signifying your king of the hill in that spot, so to speak, just to then back off.
Back off. I was expecting to at least do something with it. The Riptide was really close to pulling, I think it was Albie in, or someone was really close to pulling someone from the Big C into a really bad position, but instead just nothing there for Pikachu to go off of, and just an invade on the blue buff is actually what we get. The story was not told to a completion. It was told in a way of Thor currently is in the left lane, and they're taking T2. This is a lot of pressure in the dual lane.
I don't think Thor has left the dual lane, but not going to be able to get into the sky in time before the Apollo will get their first kill. And it was a needed one. Level 16 Evo going to be a problem for Krakito. Going to use that mounted archery to get away, but there's 4 people over here. Will Servant be enough? Maybe so, after a beautiful assist to help the Hachiman get away. Tier 1 tower still up. So there's limited options here for Seagull to cause trouble, but the big thing, Gold Fury started up by the Big C. Pyro in response, but Verx is going to take the fight and going to be able to find a kill onto Demon, and the instant jump away from the Pyromancer, so that should be a clean Gold Fury for the Big C. A successfully stopped Pyromancer and a pretty good gank. A nice turnaround there for Big C.
This is not looking like the undefeated Pikachu Esports to me. This is looking more and more like the defeated Pikachu Esports. I don't think their mental's there right now. Something's going wrong. Either it's in the comms or it's in the jungle specifically. Got to look at where the levels are. 3 levels behind right now is where Varus is, and Big C currently going to be able to get this Pyromancer unless a large steal does not come out from iServant. Or iServant, excuse me, if you want to call it that. You can either do the French version or the regular English version. French version. Yeah, iServante. I know we're talking about the EU friends here, and I know we talked a little about the Americans, so I get to go ahead and make fun a little bit of the multiple languages in the EU region. But here's a purple invade coming out from Pikachu Esports.
I love this. I love this slow spiral, and we're only in our first game. I love that. And by the way, level 16 and still no recipe. This has to be. I mean, at this point, surely somebody on their team has mentioned it. So at this point, it's a choice, right?
It's on purpose. Yeah, it has to be on purpose at this point.
And I love it. I mean, I kind of don't want to see one. I mean, clearly there's a method to the madness. It's working. 3-0, 2-level lead, almost a 2.5 level lead. Hey, why not?
I think it's like free real estate, though, right? Why not get it? It's like, why not get a shard?
It takes
it's like
time
not
to click.
buying...
In that time, that Verxa would have to spend opening up the shop, clicking on it, and putting in their inventory over the other item. they could have made up distance to go invade the enemy speed buff where they've been the entire game.
Got you. So it's a speed run thing. They're doing like
Yeah.
backward long jumps in Mario 64. I got you. Okay.
100%.
Summoning Salt's gonna make a video about how Verxa didn't buy the recipe in the first 10 minutes of this game. Actually, in the first 20 minutes of this game, and actually is not gonna have one ever. And that's how Big C actually won it entirely. So, but Varus is getting pressure out here. I would not expect Pikachu to be able to win this fight right now.
Looks like they might be forced to take it anyway. A wall combo into the pullback from Verxa, and Servant's going to hit the grayscale slam down from Varus, but it was a slam down at a 5, and there was nobody there to respond, so it forced an instant bead, so Varus had to escape. That's going to give the Big C a new opening to step into the beacon ring. They've got the advantage so far. WhatsApp user here allowed to step in. Big C kind of giving up the advantage on the beacon because they want to blink forward, and they're going to find a kill onto Varus. That's going to force some chaos from Pikachu eSports, but they were able to get a good poke onto the Hebo. That forces him away. Big C regroup. They're back onto the beacon. WhatsApp user trying to bring the healthier teammates into the ring to get the advantage that's in front of them. WhatsApp user going to get stunned out, however, and Pikachu eSports not committing to a target. They're more trying to play the artillery approach, which is allowing Big C to just kind of hang out. And that's going to be a beacon for the Big C that could have certainly been contested by Pikachu eSports.
5 low players on Big C. I'm very surprised that Pikachu didn't just walk in there and take either 2 lives and the beacon, or just go ahead and back up and decide to, I don't know, farm or something like that. But instead, just kind of watch like this was a football game. And for you in the EU, that's actually the one in your hands. Typically in the NFL is what you would call it. And then you have the one with your feet as well, which is soccer. Okay, come on now. But in that game, you're a viewer, or, you know, what team do you sponsor?
It's going to be a pop-up for points for you in a minute. Remember the
I know, right?
Without here, you're getting points.
Yeah, that's the truth. But I do like the call there from the Big C to go ahead and stick around, because they kind of called the bluff on Pikachu eSports. They didn't get anything from this, just got a viewer watch of them capturing the beacon. A couple of kills going the way of the Big C as well. 2-8 is not the scoreline I expected to see walking into this game. I expect this to go heavily the way of Pikachu eSports. I think you and I were in the DM saying, oh, there should be a dominant win here for Pikachu eSports. That is not the story that's being told right now. The Big C are looking really good.
What the Big C do need to be careful of as we get close to that 20-minute mark, the last time these two teams faced, Pikachu eSports took the set 2-0 in a best of 3. And in that game too, the way that they won was they decided to run through, they ran it in, and they took serious advantage of a miscalculation from the Big C, and they basically got a in-your-face backdoor, and they got themselves the victory. The Big C cannot afford to let that happen. It's finals. Pikachu eSports starts up 1. If things get carried away, it could be problematic, because Albi could be in some trouble here. Caught in the Riptide, but a dash from the Hachiman into the Riptide going to equal an own goal and safety for Albi.
This is a Gold Fury fight right here. This is a big one for Pikachu eSports. They have to win this in a dominant fashion, but here at Big C ready to challenge it whenever they want to. All ultimates up on both sides. You can see all 10 members with a beautiful blue dot on the right hand and left hand side of your screen. This Jormungandr has been causing way too much chaos for someone that's just walking at the enemy team. I would expect Krakito or Demon to just go ahead and use your abilities and use everything you have to just melt the Jormungandr down, not let him get into World Serpent, because once Jormungandr gets into that World Serpent, it becomes a much bigger issue than just a Jormungandr that's in his regular state.
That's a really good point, and that's kind of how the Big C has been fighting, as now trouble for Varus, who is in that duo lane again, going to be forced into that Anvil of Dawn just to get away, so that ultimate's going to be down. Good news for Pikachu eSports is Pyromancer has been pulled and taken on the right-hand side, but that is a signal to the Big C. It's time to pull Primal. It's going to be at half health, and nobody should be able to get there from Pikachu eSports. It could be close with the Hugh Huang, but there's no dead sprint, no interest. Instead, they actually look at the mid Tier 1 tower, but they can't take it too serious with the Jormungandr lurk.
I'm telling you, man, this Jormungandr is a bigger threat than you expected him to be. You know, we saw a lot of the face of Verxa on the Wheelix, but we kind of slept on the Seagull on the Jormungandr, and now we're seeing how it's going to be able to present in the late game. Only barely ahead in the solo lane is the Jormungandr right now because of taking the tower on the side of Pikachu eSports. I would say that towers are kind of telling a bit of a story right now, because on the left-hand side, Big C and Apollo have already lost their tier 1, but on the opposite side of the map, you have tier 1 down in the soul lane going the way of the Big C. So a little bit of a win, a little bit of a loss, but where does it all matter? It all matters at the team fight at the end of this game. And we're getting to that point now where it's going to start getting Fire Giant focus, and start getting to Enhanced Fire Giant. We're only about 7 minutes away from Enhanced Fire Giant becoming the Fire Giant. And I love when Fire Giants, the first one that's captured is actually just an Enhanced Fire Giant. That's always a crazy situation to be in, but we still got 7 minutes until that's going to happen.
And with all that time, there is a lot of time to have more of these skirmishes in the jungle, which have been a big theme of this game, is skirmishes on that left side of the map. And Varus and Verxa, one interesting dynamic of this game is they haven't seen each other much because they're constantly separating their pressure and focusing on other sides of the map and responding to each other, which is really an interesting dynamic because once they do run into each other, that introduces an entirely new mechanic to these team fights and how that they're going to function. Is what can the junglers bring to the now 5v5 as opposed to the, you know, the 4v4 or the 3v2s or the 2v4s even. So there's a lot to look at with that and how it'll function. Who would you have having the advantage in that as we get close to that later game talking about the EFG?
Thor is one of the best teamfight gods in the game, I would say, and I would never give it to a Wheelix. I would say much more of a single target type of god. That's her kit. It's surrounded around being a single target. But speaking of single targets, man, this Yemoja not looking too healthy, getting chased down.
I thought she might be okay, but then forced to use that Phantom Shell, not where you want to be. A slam down from Varus. Almost set up for Raiden, but again, no follow-up. Beacon going to be taken by Big C unless Pikachu eSports make a change. They do send in WhatsApp user to go aggressive, but it leads to a pullback, and that's going to be a death for Servant. That's not what Pikachu eSports needed. They're going to lose the Beacon off this too. Could lose Demon, could lose Varus, but they're going to get a pick off of it. They do find Raiden thanks to the Hachiman. To the skies goes Petters. He needs to pick a landing spot. Going to pick Varus on the landing. Will find the kill. And going to now focus on the buff just while he's over there because Pikachu eSports are forced to retreat. The Big C get themselves a beacon.
And there you go, another one for the Big C. I think a couple minutes ago you asked me, a couple. I'll give you
the beacon.
Doubt.
Oh no!
Oh wait,
they had so much time.
I thought I trusted you.
Oh wait, they're going to the Fire Giant.
Oh.
Oh, this is a play. If this, this baited me, and we have the upper head view. This could be great, but WhatsApp user going to sniff it out before it's below half health. Within range of the ring, a lot of new entrances. A blink forward on the Albie. Could go for it, but focuses Albie instead. That was the priority, and they're going to find the kill onto the Cabrakan, but not before Petters and Verxa combine to take them both down. Rampage for Verxa while we're at it. The Big C will get to rock with a Fire Giant.
Man, we both got baited there, man. I thought 100%. Oh, well, Pikachu got that, Big C got the beacon there, and then I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's just loading up for the next tier. It's going on for the next, when the Titans are going to release, it's going to go ahead and load it for that one. But instead, you were totally right. A big call there from the Big C, and something that you said you liked, and I also liked it. It was the smart call there to go ahead and back off entirely from the beacon because, you know, Pikachu eSports, last time it happened, they were viewers. They kind of just watched it happen. So what are they going to do when you do a Fire Giant? It seems like Pikachu eSports is just going to watch you do the Fire Giant as well. The only person there to even challenge it was, as I just said, WhatsApp user, as well as the Big C will still get the beacon going their way.
I can't believe the beacon was able to last so long. They could go get it that way.
That's what she said.
Anyway, Pyromancer taken as well. Bomb in pocket of Verxa. Varus forced into the sky, trying to play it safe, and Pikachu eSports don't want to take this fight unless Varus gets crazy. Varus going to take the 1v1 with an Awelix. Able to escape for now, but going to be run down. We'll see if WhatsApp user can play good defense. Not going to be able to find it. Verxa got the blink forward. Got the perfect ability off to get the kill, and WhatsApp user could not play good enough defense. Linebacker, he is not. Unlucky. And more of a football for you.
Nice. And there's Apollo going into the sky. We've seen this multiple times, but I love Hopper. Great skin. I don't know if all the Stranger Things skins are actually allowed in this league, but printers will let me know, but we'll have to find out. I think we'll have to go ahead and call him after this game, but Awelix going to go ahead and split push down the right-hand side of the map, but a great push here from Big C. Yu Huang is your first target.
Has to use that Celestial Flight to get away. Pikachu eSports kind of just trying to play around their Titan. They don't want to take a fight because their team isn't here. They're all spread around because WhatsApp user had to defend the Phoenix. But now Verxa is going to be set up for a really good flank if they want it. Demon and Servant stepping up to see if they can do anything on this Titan, but they're not going to be able to. Order Titan will be taken out quickly. Chaos Titan still marching down. Verxa still in solo. Pikachu eSports going to group in mid. This could lead to something big.
Oh, this could be a really big problem here because we need to either back up or go in. We can't wait for this Titan to walk in because it becomes a much harder fighter if you're on Pikachu. But Big C are backing off and allowing the Chaos Titan just to walk in and take the tower itself, only taking about a quarter of its health. And that was a very unusual play. After melting the Order Titan, you're just going to go ahead and let your Chaos Titan get murdered as well. I don't see the logic here from Big C, but there might be 1,000 IQ above me in this situation because Gold Fury is a good call. It's a good objective to get, and we are walking quickly towards the next Fire Giant already. We just watched the last one fall. This one might be close to an enhanced Fire Giant if they can delay it for long enough. We're at 28 minutes, 2 more minutes, and we're going to be melting towers and phoenixes like no else.
We have heard rumors about the immaculate intelligence of Petters, so that could be possible. And Verxa are going to make it to full build without having to use a recipe. So haters be damned, Verxa gets to succeed. Full build now. Never even touched a recipe. Didn't even read them. Doesn't care. Doesn't want them. I'd be surprised if they're using the totems either.
I'd be surprised if they're placing wards. I mean, this is probably a heavy Warcry situation, 0 wards type of thing. And you can expect to see these recipes already fading away now. This is a very typical old boots style. Back in the day, you would sell your boots once you were done with them. You didn't want them anymore sometimes. Back in the day when you would buy Talaria boots for the fun of it and rush down people really fast down a lane, and then, you know, Talaria boots is basically worthless come the 15-minute mark because we have all these abilities that make you super fast and these items that provide movement speed, and it doesn't matter anymore. And that's exactly the same thing for these recipes as you go ahead and sell them at this point. Fire Giant about to come back up, 29 minutes in the game, and there's a big old blank. Whoa!
Oh boy, Demon just absolutely got popped. And the Big C have a new opening to do as they please. They're going to choose to step back as Petters lands down in the back line. In between 3 people, was able to dash away to safety. The Pikachu eSports now forced to regroup and plan again. Varus to the sky. They're grouped up. This could be good, but somehow it missed everybody. Raiden will get a pick onto Hachiman. Varus now in the back line. Gonna look for Petters, but now forced into Relics. Verxa gonna find a kill onto Servant. WhatsApp in trouble too. That's a double kill for Verxa, and Petters will pick one up as well. Divine for Verxa. Deicide for the Big C. And let's see if they want revenge. Remember when you ended the game so quickly? It was 22 minutes. You thought you were so cool. Let's run it back and make it an even set. Let's restart the best of 5. The Big C's in the throne room. 5 seconds for Demon. Not going to be there in time. The Big C are going to take this game and make it a 1-1 set. We're going to send it to the desk to break it down.
Wow. Lana, we said that it was going to have to be picks that got the Big C through this game, and didn't they have play around it? I mean, Verxa in the jungle, absolutely incredible. I mean, let's continue to break it down because, you know, Big C, they didn't have the team fighting composition necessarily, but they were just constantly getting these little knockups, getting this poke damage off and finding these picks. It just enabled them to keep the momentum the entire time. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was beautiful play. I mean, that was so clean. Like, I don't even I don't have words. That was fantastic. Everyone did exactly what they needed to do. 23k on a wheelish, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I would hope there's going to be a ban coming out for that. I mean, it really, I think it's less that came down to drafts, and I think a lot of it must have come down to that communication factor. It really kind of just looked like Pikachu eSports just weren't mentally there. Like, I'm pretty sure Phoenix mentioned that earlier, going like halfway through, that they're just not playing as a complete unit, which is really unfortunate because their comp really demanded that, especially with having Umoja kind of being the center point there. I mean,
one to move on from, I think, for Pikachu. I mean,
Yeah.
sums up at the end there. Varus had that Thor ult that just missed a complete 5-man grouping. Channeling the inner Cheeto, as it were. And really, I think that kind of just summarizes it. Like, the picks were good, the idea was there for the team fight, but as you said, the communication and the overall cohesion just wasn't there. I mean, you've got a mid laner part of 0 kills on a Yu Huang in comparison to the Hebo part of 10. Now, granted, the Hebo got a couple of kill participation early, really nice communication and understanding of the map from Raiden and Verxa to understand that Seagull was going to get invaded on that blue buff. Went to rotate over, got off 2 picks, but then in the duo lane, Varus went over, Krakito and Servant, then were able to dominate the lane over Pedders and Albi, but it just didn't quite snowball for them as it did for the Big C, and I think they played the pick comp well. They're just constantly forcing out those relics, getting the Awilix ult, just using it as and when they could, and it just helped. And shout out to Verxa, the man was cooking without even cooking. The lack of recipe was quite unique.
Who needs it, right? This is Verx's meta, and we're just living in it, guys. Yeah, I mean, beautiful play coming out of them. I mean, shout out support Yorm here, 0013.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love to see that too. Yeah, I don't know. I think going into the next game, I think it would be really important. Honestly, yeah, it's a throwaway game, if anything. I'm hoping Pikachu eSports' mental can stay intact after that. It really just was kind of a wash. There probably was some communication errors and stuff like that. It's the warm-up. That was their warm-up. Now let's just clean it up and get into the next game.
Yeah, absolutely has to be. One thing that they do need to do is they need to shout at Varus. This man has 0 wards.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Somebody come pick up their child. They're in a place where they don't understand, clearly. But with that, we will take it to a quick break before we get into game number 2. Reminder, this is a best of 5 of the upper division finals between the Big C and Pikachu eSports. We'll be back with you very, very shortly for that one.
have to stop going back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you. I have to stop going back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you. To you, to you, to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back to you, to you, to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back to you, to you, to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back to you, to you, to you, back to you, back. I have to stop going back. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Upper Division Glorious Smite League Finals for Season 4 here. Pikachu eSports versus the Big C. Big C have evened it up after quite a one-sided Game 1, considering the drafts and considering the form of these two teams. Big C just found the momentum, they took it, and they absolutely blasted through Pikachu eSports in Game 1. Took the first Fire Giant in 24 minutes, and seeing the picks and bans coming out right now, and immediately 2 target bans coming through from the last game. Hebo and Cabrakan both being taken away from the Big C, and the Awelix as well. Over half of their composition has just disintegrated like that. New game plan needed for the Big C.
Hope the Big C weren't planning on playing any of those again, because those are never coming back. That was a disgusting mid 3v3. I mean, we talked a lot about Verxa, but like honestly, like Raiden and Albie did some absolute work. Like if I was looking at those mitigations at the end of game 2 or at the end of game 1, and let's just say it was 40k Cabrakan, 19k Umoja, and when you have a 3-second cooldown on Cabrakan and you build CDs, it may as well be non-existent. So abilities all the time, kind of can't blame them. But they're going for the Yorm. And Hades. Okay, now I'm just confused.
Hello, I believe, I think we might have accidentally misplaced our players and brought in a crack addict instead. That's a first pick Hades for the Big C. What?
I guess if we're thinking about Hades, I don't know if Hades would. I would hope Hades goes solo. I think he just gets demolished in mid. It makes no sense. And I guess you can keep up with the pressure from Jormungandr, which not a lot of characters can do. So if you're fighting for totems, I'm not necessarily mad at that. But yeah, definitely interesting. Not the first pick I would assume. I'd definitely do that later on. I think there's more priority picks like Set and Marty.
Yeah. Even after being fixed and Martiker's being nerfed, they're both good. And honestly, this Marty could still go to the mid lane, and I would honestly still prefer it to go to the mid lane here. Just because of that safe clear, the presence in team fights, the constant poke that you can put out. It's very nice to pair in with a set which here is likely going to be in the jungle and isn't going to have quite as much early clear. It kind of nullifies that. You maintain some of that pressure in the 2v2 that you wouldn't otherwise have. Demon as well, it's very versed in playing ADC, so picking the Hunter for him is not a bad idea at all. Big C running back the Apollo, clearly Pedders was very comfortable in that ability to rotate and just keep himself in the game, make sure he's constantly farming, and the Susano coming through, nicely timed with this. I think you're looking at Marty's set, 2 characters Susano can definitely lock down well. You know, we can make sure that the Yorm's taking extra damage with the double knockups in the kit, and then banning the Ares which just means that you're removing a lot of the threats to that Susano's dive potential. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Ganesh ban next.
Yeah, Ganesh. Unfortunately, Artio still sucks, by the way, guys, so we won't see a ban there, but, you know, that's always a counter, too. We don't see the Ganesh. That is very surprising, because Ganesh absolutely dumpster Susano and does not let him play the game. So I would love to see that being a pick out of Pikachu eSports. And keep in mind, they also just skipped their ban. That's odd.
At
Um,
your
I don't know if that's
I hate this
Goodbye.
god with a passion.
Karen.
I would rather shoot myself in the toe with a rusty bullet than play against this god every game.
I mean, we're talking about gods that are absolutely annoying. Kabrakan was super annoying on Albi. Well, welcome to Charon, just as annoying. You think you're about to kill him? Nah, he's either gonna use his ult that goes across the map, or he's just gonna paddle down the lane, and you're gonna cry because you're never gonna catch him. I
Is
love
that
it.
duck that's swimming
The
in
nerfs
water?
weren't enough, though.
No, crikey, no.
Not even close.
Yeah, this god just doesn't take damage. I despise it with all my passion. There is the Ganesh
Shocker.
to counter out the Susano. I can understand the Athena ban. I definitely can, you know, with the changes, the slow now being on her 3 definitely provides that. I think that little bit extra that she always kind of needed, where, you know, by the time you got your 3 and 2 off, the slow had gone now, whereas you can now use the slow as part of the combo to secure the taunt more. And Izanami as the last pick in the ADC. I mean, we say Apollo struggles against gods that can't clear. This is a god that can clear, but it's also a god that can be really, really easily punished in the early game. I think something that people don't understand about Izanami is, yes, she has that wave 1 pressure in the early clear, and she's going to push you under tower. Great. Okay, after that, what you're going to do is you're going to poke her, and because of how her autos are, she does not get the sustain out. She just dies. She cannot stay in the lane. Krakito's going to have to pilot this well to not take too much poke, otherwise the entire point of the Izanami pick and the pressure is just going to disappear like that.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, though, I kind of like both drafts, honestly. I think they have 2 different game plans. I mean, Ganesha here is going to probably really want to stay next to that Susano and get a lot of healing off, but at the same time, there can be a lot of disruption that can be happening. Even someone like Charon can absolutely just honestly play as like a second solo laner here,
Yep.
and they can get in there as well. And you got safety through Apollo and Scylla, so it's kind of just a pop-off burst thing. Not as close range as the first game, but definitely a similar style that I can see here. But we'll see how they execute it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Hades as well can definitely cause a lot more disruption. I know we've kind of laughed at it, but in reality, this is a very annoying pick to play against. I think it's really going to come down to how much the Hades and Susano can get onto the backline in comparison to the set and the Jormungandr. I think that's going to be the sort of key components for this set. And speaking of, we are going to go into game number 2. Currently 1-1 with Pikachu eSports had the advantage. Casters, it's over to you.
Thank you guys so much. 1-1, it's a completely new set. The first to 3 is getting themselves the title. My name's Anthony Malm, joined by Phoenix. It's more Pikachu eSports versus the Big C in the upper division grand finals in Phoenix. They talked about it, dive in the back line, but I am excited because there's a Karen.
There's a Karen, and you asked for it last game. You're getting it this game. Osiris was also open. No one took it, though. They went ahead and took a Hades first pick, which is the biggest question mark I've ever seen. We also can commentate on one other thing. It looks like everyone has a recipe this time. We're all cooking.
Yeah, somebody taught Verxa about it. Verxa read the patch notes during the break.
No idea. It was like, oh, Wheelix is actually a pretty good god, but you know what else might help me? No, a recipe might actually help me in the earlier mid part of the game. And I want to talk about this jungler because we have Verxa again in the jungle. Just a bit of a different type of playstyle this time on the Susano instead of the Awilix. But we have Varus on the set, which is for sure not a Thor. That's Anvil of Dawn set is nothing like that. Very much so an on the ground type of god. And speaking about on the ground type of gods, this Hades already getting poked out by the base anti-heal Tainted Steel Jormungandr. It's going to be such an easy lane for this Jormungandr because also World Serpent, whenever what is it called? You know what it's called? Pillar of Agony.
Oh,
Bang.
I was like, Jormungandr doesn't have a pillar. I'm sitting here so confused, wondering
Yes,
what game you're
Hades.
playing.
Hades, Pillar of Agony against Jormungandr. Jormungandr probably wins out most of the time onto that situation.
Sorry about that. I was like, what pillar is he talking about? Jormungandr doesn't have a
Yeah.
pillar. Yeah, I'm with it now.
Gotcha.
All right, let's kind of reset. Let's look at the duo lane because we heard on the desk Apollo has a tough time against good clear, and last game Petters had a really rough laning phase. Do you think the Izanami is a good answer to keeping this Apollo in check, similar to the way the Hachiman was used last game?
Early game, Izanami is going to be able to outclear him for the first 7 levels, is what I would say. But 1v1 ability, I'm going to have to give it to an Apollo. His kit is made for 1v1ing, just like a Hu Yi, you would say. That's why back in the day when Hu Yi and Apollo were 2 of the only ADCs in the lane, that's what was happening, is you were seeing a lot of those 2 matched up against each other. I would expect to see more and more of Apollo becoming a threat as this game goes on. I said it last game, I'll say it this game. I think it's the exact same situation because just have to get to that point where Apollo feels really good. I think it's around the level 10 to 15 minute mark, as well as the level will be around that pace as well.
That will be important to watch. Realistically, the Big C need Petters to be more present this game. They don't need poke like that to happen. Petters almost got dropped underneath his own tower. Will be pressured out again. It's going to turn to a purple buff invade by Pikachu eSports, but notably, Servant going to be there first. Izanami going to catch up, goes through the wall. Purple buff gets pulled. No contest from the Big C can be done comfortably, but they leashed it too far, so it's going to go back towards Big C. They chase it back again. Now we do the dance. A big misstep here from Pikachu eSports. This could buy time. Petters gets it brought back to his tower now. It gets easier, and they don't get it. So, big miscalculation there.
Miscalculation and a dash right into the enemy team. What a wild move right there from the Izanami. This is like a super chancy move at that, but will not get punished for it. Only lose about half the health bar, which is kind of just on the top of the fact that you guys just tried to invade a buff and failed to do it, and they're going to dash right in front of them and lose half your health bar. Not where you want to be if you're Pikachu eSports in the dual lane. Look at where Varus is again. This is exactly where he was in the last game, was over on the left-hand side of the map the entire game. I would go the same for the Big C. The Wheelix was really good last game, and you really can't do the exact same thing, but there it is. A great ultimate from the mid laner on Demon. We haven't seen him Articulus in a while because he's been out of meta, but now he's back.
Yeah, he's been just out of meta, out of the game. Nobody was allowed to play him for a while there, and a lot of players were rejoicing about that. But now Marty back available, and even with nerfs, there is a lot of people predicting Martikers will still be a top pick, just not necessarily the same pick or lose scenario. But time will have to tell on that one as the season has just started, and we're coming up in 5 minutes. Still no kills. Gold lead is oddly pretty high for Pikachu eSports, considering the lack of aggression. A lot of it can be pointed to that dual lane, considering there's actually a mid lead for the Big C, so interesting split there. Varus lurking in solo, trying to make the most of that set. Does not have a blink. Opted to go with that purification beads, so no sneaky quick engages from the set this game, which will limit the early game potential of set. Is now going to run into Verxa, but the wall will be enough of a difference.
I love the draft that Big C got here. And this is looking to be an early invade. They love to be at the doorstep with these buffs.
Yeah, they do.
About a minute early, and I like the play here from Pikachu eSports. They need the aggressiveness on the right-hand side of the map, and that's exactly what they're doing. They could probably kill this Hades if they wanted to try for it.
We'll see if Set steps up. WhatsApp definitely is. The blue buff going to get pulled towards tower, going to get dropped and picked up by Pikachu eSports. Typhoon was used, but Seagull is alive. We'll see if they decide to go crazy and dive. Again, no blink for the set here. They have to do it the old-fashioned way. Varus being allowed to step up. First blood in the dual lane. In the meantime, Petter's going to get dropped by tower line, it seems. Again, unlucky for the Apollo. But let's focus on solo. Lot of attention here. A lot of player names around. Varus gets pulled back in from Verxa. There's the summon sticks to give some trouble to Varus, but still able to get away somehow in the face of the Big C that just did not have enough damage to do anything to that set. So first blood will go to Pikachu Esports with no response on that right-hand side.
I loved whatever you just said. Is this ultimate called Big Sticks?
Summon sticks.
Oh, okay, dude. That's good. That's good. I do like Summon Sticks though. That's a cool name. I want to cast that as much as possible because Summon Sticks goes hard. It's like River's Rebuke. It's like, oh man, here comes the big River's Rebuke or Landfall, man. So
Karen
many.
has really good names. Spectral Surge, Damnation, Swift Voyage, Summon Sticks. Really good names. Damnation's a really sick name for an ability. It's so much better than a lot of the OG ability names that are just like, you know, line throw.
Yeah, somersault, jump, leap.
Yeah, leap.
Dude.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Leap was a good one, and I do appreciate these newer names because Hi-Rez is having to get more and more creative as they go on because man, they're probably like, is Absolution used? And they're like, it's an item already. Darn it! Like we can't use that name. Okay, Desert Fury? Like, have we used Fury before in any game? It's like, no, we've actually used it like 3 times. We've used it a lot of times. They're like, darn it, we gotta think about some more. But very creative here. I do like the fact that we're going to see a Chiron play, as well as he's in the support role, which is something that we actually expect to see, but also he's been played in mid and in solo a little bit because this kit allows him to do that. You heard Anthony just say all the names of the abilities. They're all really cool names, but also the abilities themselves are very cool, especially the big old dash. Which one is that one? The dash that lets him go through players and stun them?
The Swift Voyage. Words.
Yeah, Swift Voyage. I believe you got it. Yes, Little Boatman does that
You
very
caught me
well.
mid-water sip, Phoenix. You broke a rule.
Oh,
for
my
me there.
bad. Hey, my bad, all right? Because you got to sit over here in the jungle. I'll chair one for just 1 second while you do get that sip, because Blue Buff is back up again at the top right-hand side. And guess who's here? It would be Varus, but Verxa, level 7, level 9. This could go the way of Set if he can just poke in there and steal it. And he does.
Varus is just a menace for the Big C on that right-hand side. They have not been able to deal with Varus, even with how dominant Verxa was in the previous game. Varus was just a menace for that left-hand side, and now transitioning into the right-hand side could spell trouble. Another purple buff is being looked at from Pikachu Esports. The Big C are prepared for this time and healthy, but Varus over here, Verxa will choose to lurk. Servant already poked out, stepping up to that purple buff. They're leaving room open. Susano can come right from behind with plenty of damage, but looks like the way Pikachu Esports chose not to overcommit there was enough to keep them safe from the potential of Susano dropping that Typhoon, sneaking in from behind, doing significant damage. So kind of an accidental, really good play there from Pikachu Esports.
Pikachu Esports and the Big C kind of do a little bit of a lopsided here. We have a 2-level lead in the mid lane going the way of the Big C, but then we have a 2-level lead in the jungle for Pikachu Esports because this game, Varus looking a lot more comfortable on the set than he was last game on the Thor. I also appreciate the fact that we do have this Marticarus kind of just hiding in bushes, doing what Marticarus does so very well, which is just sneaking around like an assassin almost sometimes, but is by no means an assassin. Much more an ADC or a mid laner. Kind of has the kit of a mid laner with all the AoE abilities and the stun, which is typically something you don't see out of your ADC lane, something you see more of a mid laner, especially like Scylla right here. You have a Sikkim, which is wonderful looking little go ahead and stick down to the ground, why don't you stay right here, root, and then you have the Crush, which is just a large AoE damage, and then you can add on top of that with I'm a Monster, which is just another AoE damaging abilities that resets. And I love that we see a Scylla this game. I was like, is this season 2 again? We see Osiris getting banned, we see Scylla getting picked. It's a very kind of throwback.
We see Varus sneaking up, Phoenix.
Yeah.
This could spell a lot of trouble for Seagull. Gonna dash forward, gonna try to go out fighting, but gonna get dropped by WhatsApp user. Just the presence of Varus was enough there. Pikachu Esports on the left-hand side, gonna pull the Gold Fury, and with nobody around to respond, it's gonna be a death in solo from the Scylla rotation. Gold Fury on the left goes to Pikachu Esports. So a smart spread from the Big C leads us at 2-1 at 10 minutes 30 seconds. A gold lead still pretty significantly in the favor of Pikachu Esports this early, but you can see why the Gold Fury was taken for free. But you can't deny what we're seeing right here. That's a lot of damage. Calculated play! I'm a Monster just off the mark. But Verxa able to get it regardless and get away from the tower.
Doesn't do too much for his levels, though, still 2 levels behind. He's got to do something off the back of that grab. We can talk a little bit about the starter items here, but we have an invasion from the ADC. This is a 1v1. This is what I'm talking about.
taking the fight, but decides to use to the skies in the face of an Izanami that was rushing plated boomerang. So a bad combination of timing and choices there for Petters will lead to a solo kill favoring the Izanami.
I lied to you guys. 100% thought that Apollo come the 10-minute, 15-minute mark would be a 1v1 champion. But I guess when you try to go up into the sky, right in front of it is Izanami with crit chance, it's not going to work out in your favor every single time. So great play there coming from Krakito, who has played not only this game very well, but also last game. Played it at a really fast-paced level, but just his team was not there the rest of the time. I think his lane was the only winning lane the entire game. I think this is about time for these two teams to start looking towards the mid lane, because Stygian Beacon is ready to go, and we saw that they're very willing to compete for him. And I expect to see Pikachu Esports possibly put out some good fights here, and that's what they need to do, because last game was not as good at this first Stygian Beacon for them.
Big C is to the beacon first. Pikachu Esports can respond. They have Ganesh close by. Rotation coming out from Izanami. The solo laners may look to come over. We can see that it's going to be Jormungandr there first from WhatsApp user. Big C pushed out of the ring already. Albie in some trouble, gets stunned out, gets poked out, could get dropped down, gonna be gone to Demon. Dark Pillars was also used there just to make sure things were safe in the beacon ring. Petters is in the sky, flying around, taking peeks. Verx is going aggressive, could pick up Varus. Raiden will get the credit. Varus gone for diving way too deep, so Big C just kind of falls apart mentally at the beacon, and Pikachu Esports take advantage. They get a couple picks, and they get the all-important beacon.
Varus, what in the world? Man's had no hesitations there. Just walked forward into the T1 with both bastions up and said, let's go ahead and take a 2v1 fight. Why don't we? I do like seeing that confidence, because it's something that Pikachu Esports need after that last game. Probably felt pretty demoralizing coming into this second game, because they are the undefeated team, now defeated in their first game. Will equalize this level, this playing field, because it's a 1-1 score now as far as the overall games go. As you said in the beginning of this game, 1-3. Go ahead and take this title away for the GSL. And we can pray as much as we want for Pikachu Esports, but it's gonna take some plays like Set just did to give them the opportunity to win this game. I think that he needs to keep being aggressive, but I don't know if that aggressive is the answer.
I agree with that completely. You have to make sure your aggression has a purpose, is the big thing. We'll see if it works out in the solo lane. A Seagull is the target. Gonna be a full dive, full commit, and should work out. It will work out. WhatsApp user gets the credit, but WhatsApp user gonna be left alone with Verxa, who goes in aggressive. Aegis already used, and it'll be an easy pickup. Surely, one more auto? For sure, Typhoon used for safety. There was a drop in the dual lane. Albie did get picked up, and credit went to the Izanami, so 3 kills for the Izanami. Now level 15 to Petters level 11, so a deja vu over again for the ADC on the Big C.
Which EU player is building this ADC build that Apollo is building right now? Aussie into Dominance. I've never seen it.
Maybe it's just a new cookery thing with the buff to Aussie?
It might be, because I guess that's always happened. Whenever one of these Bloodforge, Aussie, Soul Eater is actually one of them, as well as Dev Gloves. Whenever they get a buff, people just start buying the crap out of them. And so it's possible that you are correct, that because Aussie got buffed, we're going to go ahead and go Cloak into Aussie into Dominance. I do like Izanami's build a lot more. If you can go ahead and just build 2 crit items, which looks like that's what's going to happen. We got Boomerang going probably into Deathbringer. It just does so much crit damage and forces a Spectral. What is Albie doing, though? Just baiting in players?
I'll just taking a small boat ride through the beacon.
Yeah.
Just stopping to say hello. You know, to your point too about that crit, once that Ornate Arrow's online as well, that's going to be a lot of crit chance and a lot of serious damage from that Izanami, and getting that crit on so early is great. Knowing you want to fight Petters and get aggressive, the Blade of Boomerang was a nice choice. I really like the way Arkido's been taking things in stride. Oni Fury started up below half health. We'll see who has a chance. Going to be Raiden the closest to it. They're going to get the steal in the face of Pikachu Esports. Can they get away is the big question. Everybody from Pikachu Esports is there. They're all grouped up. Typhoon not going to hit Demon before they take to the skies. Death from above does some good damage, but not before the Big C can step away. Pikachu Esports still want to commit. Varus dives in deep, looking for Petters. Should be able to find a kill. Will be able to find a kill. Apollo hits the grayscale. The rest of Big C, this, Petters can be the distraction. We're fine. They escape to the mid lane, and Pikachu Esports lose the Gold Fury.
I'm gonna count for you real quick. You can go ahead and don't tell me when to stop or anything like that, because that's when you do like random RNG stuff. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels is how many levels Krakito is up right now on Apollo. Peters is not feeling good on this Apollo and just needs to do something. I think that something is just go sit in left lane and farm as much as possible to try to equalize this game. But man, this is a fight.
Whoa, big damage comes out. That's huge for the Big C. We'll see if they can get more off of it. They should be able to. Double kill for Seagull. Here comes Petters from the sky to try to turn things around even further and keep the aggression going for the Big C. But Pikachu eSports was able to disengage. Nice play, great combo. They need more of that if they're gonna do it. But Varus still lurking as Pyro gets pulled. He does have a way in if he chooses to take it. Servant's actually sprinting too, but not gonna be able to get there in time. Pyromancer goes to Big C. Varus trying to get a pick on the back end and will be able to. Seagull just kind of caught lacking there behind the rest of the group. Albie using that summon 6, or excuse me, that Swift Voyage to get away. New character, you know how it is.
Yep.
Does get away and will be safe. But that was a close one. Varus almost able to get 2 picks off the back of that Pyro. That's something both teams are doing a lot of, Phoenix. They're both kind of... They get a good play, or they get a good objective. And then they kind of just hang out for a second, and they just allow the other team 1 or 2 picks for no reason. That's a weird approach to ending a team fight, especially for 2 really good teams who made it to the Grand Finals.
It is an odd idea. Typically, whenever I get an objective, and probably you do as well, it's let's get out of here, man. We all lost half of our health to this objective. Let's go ahead and get our little feeties going, or our little boats going, as we just watched Chiron freaking go, man. That guy was swinging.
Love that character.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny just watching him escape. Looks like a cartoon almost, like a whatever it's called, the not Freddy Flintstone. Yeah, the Flintstones. It looks like they're in the car with the little wheels just going. I love to see them stick around sometimes, but I would like to see them stick around when they have more health. If they had more health and had full health bars, or even half health bars, I would expect it to be a little bit more into their favor. But we're not seeing that as often right now. We're seeing them stick around with a quarter of the health, and it's exactly what gets people like Seagull punished in those types of situations. Fire Giant is the next target at this point. Gold Fury is going to have to come up here in the next 1 to 2 minutes, and I would expect to see the Big C and Pikachu eSports at both of these.
Coming up on the 20-minute mark, not too far away. Albie in some trouble. Server going to get the dash off too. Demon going to full commit for Albie. Nice summon sticks in response, but Death from Above is just a bit better. And Albie going to get dropped. 9-6 now. Pikachu eSports with a kill advantage, a pretty significant gold advantage, and a big ADC advantage currently. With the Izanami almost too late game at 18 minutes, almost going to might be able to beat the 20-minute mark to get to level 20, is going to be close there. Got to be a target. We do see a 3-person rotation over for the Izanami, so they know the same exact thing as us. But Izanami might be able to back. Going to be close. Petters takes to the sky to stop the back, but doesn't go right away. Waits it out. Krakito's going to have options here. Can turn and take the fight. Nice Aegis. Speed's going to be a bit late. Not going to be in the room with the crush. Takes the fight. Takes the 1v3. Doing okay so far, but Typhoon's going to find the kill before they can turn it. But it was way closer than it should have been, and the Big C really needs to count some blessings there.
If the relic use was a little bit in a different order, I think, or at least at a different time, I think that would have been actually a couple of kills going the way of the Izanami, but this is a World Serpent straight at Varus's head.
We'll see if Varus and WhatsApp are able to get away safely. They will be. Mid tower in trouble too. The Big C kind of just forced to regroup mentally. Not going to be a level 20-minute speed run anymore for Krakito after that gank, but still my point will remain the same, that the Izanami can now just be with the team and roam around as a pack. The Apollo has to just hang out in lane, and level 15 to level 18 is a grind for ADCs, so you don't have your Apollo at full strength for a very long time if you're on the Big C, and that's going to be a problem.
It is going to be a problem because already crit chances are hitting right now for Krakito and slamming multiple people. No spectral armor coming out from the Big C as of yet as well, which means those crits are hitting for full. Also, no Geb there on the enemy team, which means all of those crits that we've been talking about are going to be hitting for their full damage. And I expect to see that Krakito is going to be the top damage charts come a first team fight, but Scylla is the first target for Pikachu eSports.
I'm a Monster got forced out really, really early. Varus did get aggressive to try to see what they could get. But the big thing is Raiden has to step back. Pyromancer going to be pulled. Could get dropped really quickly. Petters is actually here, but he needs to focus on farm, so keep your eye on that. Typhoon not going to be in time for the steal. Pikachu Esports will get themselves a Pyromancer, Bomb, and Pocket, and they're going to walk right over towards the Primal Fury, it would appear. So that should be another objective in the pocket of Pikachu Esports. It's going to be a really dangerous task if the Big C want to contest. And Varus, being sneaky, waiting for that Scylla, could look to do it in the face of the Big C. Petters takes to the sky. Varus did not go aggressive on the Scylla, and Petters going to just kind of lurk around. Doesn't have a lot of mana, so can't hang out forever. Primal Fury pulled, and purple buff was the target for the Apollo, needing to just farm, and that's more gold in pocket for Pikachu Esports, now up to a 4K gold lead at 21 minutes.
I want to tell you a story real quick, which is about the summoning sticks, which is so funny because I was in a game where the Chiron, and I was at the enemy. The enemy, he's against me. So I was at T2 of their side, and Chiron used his ultimate down the mid lane. It hit me there, and I backed back to base, and it hit me in the base too. I got hit twice by summoning sticks. It was a crazy. I've never had that. I was like, what is that sound I'm hearing right now? What is that sound? And just out of nowhere comes this wave rushing at me. It is. I would combine Atlas and Chiron every single day because that ultimate goes across the entirety of the map and can actually do a lot of damage. I'm guessing it probably could kill a single target. Do that and Giannis. Ooh, Fire Giant, half health.
It's already below half. It's a sneaky pull, and it gets stolen by the Big C from Seagull. That's an insane turnaround for the Big C, but they did lose Hades. We'll see how this goes for Pikachu Esports. They could turn it back around and take advantage of Big C sticking close by. Raiden got poked out, but able to escape. That's frustrating for Pikachu Esports. They've been so dominant. They've had such a consistent lead, and to lose the Fire Giant so calmly, while not the end of the world, that's not a game-changing time for that to happen. I mean, that's huge for the Big C. That keeps them from losing every tower on the map. That does a lot, as Petters is just kind of in the mid lane, and everybody's nearby. Gonna have to get out of there quickly. We'll see how this works, because now the Big C is in an awkward split for this fight. Summon Stick's going to be used. We'll see if it hits anybody twice or hits him once. Servant going to be in a lot of trouble, and Petters going to get the credit for it. The Big C can look to step up and chase down the two remaining from Pikachu Esports, and WhatsApp will be first on the chopping block. But able to get into that World Serpent, so now Demon will be the new target, and Albie leads the way. Petters from the sky to the ground, doing damage, but could get dropped. Demon will be the one that falls, and Verxa gets the credit. That's massive. More kills, more dominance, more gold. Big C need it. Varus dives in deep again. Not the first time we've seen that, but once again, we see Varus pay for it. Has to back away. Pikachu Esports got to be careful, Phoenix. They're giving things away.
That is such a bad situation to be in if you are Pikachu Esports. You needed that Fire Giant to go ahead and push your lead even further, and now the Stygian Beacon being captured by the Big C as well, which means they're doing 4% more damage to objectives. And especially when you start looking at the map right now, those are that's mid T1, and that's the other 3 T2s, as Varus going to go ahead and dive in here, look for some kills, but won't get anything out of it. Ultimate already used, so Kingslayer is down. Thanks to SDL for letting me know the names of some of these god ultimates.
That's one way to know the abilities.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's been one of the longest teams in the SDL.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it taught me a lot, actually.
Some people use note cards, you use team names. I love that.
Yeah, I just got to keep asking Nubla to keep switching them. Can you please keep switching the names so I can learn all the gods' ability names? I got to go ahead and take a look here, because now I think Pikachu Esports are on their back foot. Even though they're ahead in gold by only about 3K, that's demoralizing right there. And so they need to go ahead. They got to go ahead and reset here mentally, number one. And number two, they have to go ahead and be willing to continue to challenge objectives like the Pyromancer and towers even. And here's the challenge you need is go ahead and take it yourself. Those crits are slamming, Anthony.
They're doing a lot. Pyromancer going to go to Pikachu Esports, but the Izanami kind of has been quiet in the last few fights. That was their advantage for so long. And all of a sudden, it kind of feels like every fight we're seeing Kirkido just be sent away from a fight, be it through poke or just outright damage. And a similar story gets told with Demon, who gets kind of left alone and gets put in trouble. Mid-tier 1 going to drop. Mid-tier 2 could be next on the chopping block, depending how these Titans fight. That could be said for both teams. Looks like Pikachu Esports will be the first there, and they're going to rush and try to burn down the Chaos Titan. Do you think this will be a different... Don't have long to answer. Think this will be a different Titan push than last time?
No, I think they're both going to be too scared to do it. As you can see, I mean, they killed the Chaos
Yeah,
Titan so
they're
quickly,
gone.
and they're backing off already. It's just, I don't
It's a primal.
understand it. I don't understand it exactly. Understand this makes sense to go ahead and go for Gold Fury. Go ahead and push your gold lead even further. Maybe you'll have more items online than the enemy would. And speaking of items, a fail knot on their Meticulous is the correct choice, but also it's the item that is another crit chance god. Meticulous will be hitting those crit chances just like the Zenami is. A little bit less, of course. It's an ability-based crit chance, basically. I should expect see a spectral armor any second here, and that's what it looks like is coming from Chiron here. It looks like the 5th item is going to be a spectral armor. I don't think that's going to be, a breastplate of valor out of nowhere.
I would agree with that. I don't think you can take the risk of not picking that up in this scenario. It's kind of an only net positive for your team. Yeah. 27 minutes around the corner. Currently 10-9. The gold lead is honestly a bit misleading for the last little while. This game has. The Big C have completely turned things around after a Fire Giant steal. The next Fire Giant will be a big tell of how this late game's going to go, and if the Big C can continue that momentum. You can see it in the charts. You can see when they did it. You can see how the momentum swung. They had a couple good fights after that. They need more than that. Pikachu eSports first to the pit. A lot of new entrances into that Fire Giant pit, Phoenix. There's a lot of options for these team fights.
Yeah, and this is the Fire Giant dance that we didn't have last time, because remember how last time it was just a little quick sneaky thing from Pikachu eSports. This time we got a challenge here from the Big C that's not just a steal potential, it's actually a teamfight potential. Might be a good opportunity here for Hades to show off what he does, and here we go.
The Fire Giant is already down below half. This game is not that late quite yet, but Seagull is completely erased. Could be trouble for Surfing as well. I'm a Monster is already pre-popped. Death from above being used. So Mama Monster turned into an escape tool. Typhoon almost hit too. That is completely spread around Pikachu eSports despite them getting the Fire Giant. They could turn things around here. Not too late to get some picks. They're going to find one pick there, and it's a massive one. Big C still looking to retreat. Can't get away from Varus. Can't get away from Demon. That's 3, 4 gone for the Big C. Petter's just buying time. It's a deicide. The Big C hit the grayscale as a unit, and all they can do is watch Pikachu eSports run it down.
This is 30 seconds on the closest, or sorry, 20 seconds on the closest person, which
They
is
might
going
get
to
this.
be the Hades. I think they actually might end up getting the Titan here. If I were them, I would make the call to full out do it. Go ahead and attack the Titan here.
Here they go, and it's dropping so fast with 5 seconds to go. No chance in sight for the Big C. WhatsApp user going to hop in to celebrate as well. Pikachu eSports make it match point. One more win. They get the finals. Desk team break down the Big C, the big collapse.
Thank you very much, Anthony. And looking at that game, I think that final fight sort of epitomized most of what we saw there, Lana. I mean, I know the gold was never that far apart. The Big C got a couple of really big objective steals, but at no point did it seem like Pikachu were out of control. It was almost like role reversal in terms of the teams from game one.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely wasn't nearly as effective. I mean, it was very odd because looking back at these comps, they really have some early game, some late game, but realistically, they really couldn't get their feet off of the ground in the early game, who you would expect. Both Seagull and Petters, and arguably Albie, really did struggle in that early game. We're getting yanks, Petters was getting solo killed by Kirkido. Shadow on that isn't on me. That should be a ban. That was annoying. That ran the early game. And I think that just caused such a delay in the late game. It was either Scylla end up carrying or not. That was the only person on the map who happened to be ahead in any sort of lane, and it just isn't going to work out. Scylla does damage, but it's just not enough right now. There's a reason she's not the top of the meta. She's good. She's not that good.
Yeah, I think as well as we see, the set third item picked up that Talisman of Energy, that extra defense, just to make sure it was safer on the dive, and managed to pick up that kill in the late game after, the Scylla had used Diamond Monster, had used the Wolf to get out of there. And clearly, as we said, it was going to be a case of who can get on the back line better. which backline's going to be safer. Throughout the game, that was Pikachu being able to dive better. I don't think it helped that numerous times Albie was getting picked off. Maybe overestimating how tanky he is after the last game with those extra mitigations from the Cabrakan passive, which obviously didn't have this game, and not necessarily back to the drawing board for the Big C. I think, we saw what they can do in game one. It can absolutely work. They just need something that can get online a little bit quicker than a Susano and Scylla within mid lane. Something that can take the game to Pikachu eSports a lot earlier, because so far in this set, at least in my eyes, it's been quite clear that Verixer and Raiden are going to be the ones that are going to run the set for Big C. They're the big two for this team.
The big two for the Big C. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw they also just weren't playing to their strengths either. We saw a lot of we didn't see any split pushing from Apollo. We saw a lot of really late rotations coming out of Seagull on Hades when you would expect probably some early rotations as a Hades. Yeah, I don't know. I like their idea, but I definitely think they should switch up some of the picks. I think if we're going back to that Apollo, I would like to see something else in the support role that can kind of give a more free early laning phase. Something with a lot of pressure would be a little nice to help Petters get through that laning phase, especially if that Izanami's coming through again. And I think that even that would just be an improvement to help get their blinders to the late game a little faster.
Yeah, Umoja, could do that job wonderfully. That bit more sustain as well on the lane to keep, Pettis topped up. He has been quite susceptible to poke in both of the games so far. So actually, something that could nullify that would definitely be useful. Varys did listen to our improvements from the last game. Got wards this time. Congratulations to you, the jungler, for Pikachu Esports. For now, we are going to take a short break before we prepare for game number 3 here. Thank you very much to everyone who has been watching so far. Stick with us. We'll be back very, very shortly in what has been a very entertaining set so far. Stay tuned.
stop going back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Stop going back to you. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you.
Welcome back, everybody, to what could potentially be the third and final game of this set. Pikachu eSports leading 2-1. Big C took the first game that was played. Pikachu eSports responded in like fashion in the previous one. And we're heading now into game 3. Once again, it's myself, Ginger Archer, as well as Lana on the desk for you this evening. Anthony Malum and Phoenix have been doing a fantastic job of the casting. And Lana, I want to start with something that we picked up on last time that the Big C missed out on, which was not just picking and banning around what they want to pick, but thinking about what can counter what they want to pick. We talked last time specifically about the Susano pick. It came in that third spot just before the second round of bans. We thought, great, they can get rid of Ares, Ganesh. The Ares went, and then they got rid of Athena. Now, I know Athena's strong right now, but the Ganesh immediately got picked up, and I feel like the Susano suffered because of that a couple of times. Granted, he went 4-1 in the end, but still, it's one of those things where I think they just need to be more aware of what's going to be going on for Pikachu, not just themselves.
For Camelot!
Yeah, you
For
gotta think
Avalon!
about who you're playing through a lot of the time. And if you're picking someone like Susano, he has a lot of needs. If we're talking about some gods who don't have a lot of needs, like who can you talk? Right now, Arthur's a good example. He just does what he needs to do. He's able to provide good lane pressure. He now has the sustain.
Sound the drums
Honestly,
of
honestly,
war!
I can agree with the Ares as well, actually. But when we're talking about gods that have lots of needs and lots of counters, we need to get rid of those counters, or we need to be last picking them. But I mean, we keep in mind though, Donzaburo was picked. That was banned in that first game.
It was. This was something that was targeted against Pedders last time. Chose to ignore it. It was open this time, going to that Donzaburo, and I would not be surprised to see Pikachu eSports looking at potentially an on her
I am
here.
the king
Something that
of
can really
beasts.
shut a Donzaburo down big time. The Ares I like from the Big C, that might even go into the solo lane. Those chains can just ruin an Arthur. They'll quite literally cripple him. He will not be
mighty
able to clear
sword!
in any substantial manner just because half of his kit will be blocked and negated by this Ares. I think that's a fantastic pick. And it will not surprise me to suddenly see the mid or the jungler coming out here for the Big C, especially now the Ao Kuang's on the table. We know what's there. And as I said, there's a Ganesh. That's an Ares solo.
I like. No, hear me out. Ares jungle.
I also don't dislike it.
Like, Ares jungle, we're bringing. Which SPL player played that? There was an SPL player. Was it?
I don't know
remember.
which one it was, but what I do know is that
was
Ares, with the most recent changes, is able to clear because he gets basic attack damage boosts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I also think just the items are so unfavorable for him right now. He's able to go into quick damage. He can play, which I think is better, but he can also play the long game. He can get some stacking items if he really wanted. Just maximize his damage. And I think the biggest thing is his mitigations and his ult. Something that has been necessary for years, and they finally listened to everybody and they put it on there. And
Took
that's
them
just
long
going to
enough.
be disgusting. Can you imagine Ares ult onto a Ganesh pillar? Good luck. Good luck trying to live.
It'd be
Fun.
like Fenrir when you used to just pick someone up and then shake
Shake
them
and
through the
bake.
new wall. Exactly.
Yeah, you can't do that exactly like that anymore. You can
I
still
wish.
pull them into it. It won't actually completely shake them anymore, unfortunately. Probably for the best, but you know. regardless, we do see
Yeah,
an
I
Athena.
feel like there are issues there, especially if you do it with a Cupid, because that might endorse the shaking of babies. Don't do that. That's naughty. That
Dog.
makes the babies not baby anymore. Anyway, back to nicer things. Athena and Horus as the bans. Horus is not something we've seen even looked at remotely so far. But I think this is a smart ban. It's something that especially if you're not going to play with the Ares in lane, it can really go aggressive into that duo lane. Horus with horrific emblem, I've seen it win lane so many times where you just kill the support, you poke out the ADC, and you're out of the game for 20 minutes. It's something that's really strong. You've got the ability to rotate from point to point, especially around the objectives. Take one, oh, you're doing the other one. Dropship appears, the entire team is there to stop you. So I think that's a smart ban. Same with the Athena. Their global presence is really being valued here, as with the Janus. And now there's a Discordia and a Soul.
Discordia's fallen down a little, but I would still consider her one of the better mages. There's obviously better picks up, but this might be just a comfort pick for Raiden. And honestly, based on the FG steals, based on game 1 as a whole, I am more than okay with him picking something he's comfortable on and just wants to run the game on. Discordia has a lot of early clear pressure, and if we're mixing it with something like Ares or just another strong jungler, why not? The Soul is kind of questionable, but
I think with the Soul, it's just a case of you can very easily escape Ganzaburo. You're going to have that early pressure as well. You know, you're a magical ADC, so by default, you have the pressure in the lane. Then the fact that you've got the Soul passive, so you're not going to be able to fight her early. Anytime the Ganzaburo ults, disapparate, I'm gone.
yes.
Suddenly you can then turn with the Soul ultimate itself. I think
Behold,
this
the
is quite a
immortal
safe pick.
fury.
I would have loved if that Kabrakan had been locked in, because you just
Right.
would have had so much kill pressure. But the Emoja is going to provide that clear, that sustain. There's already quite a lot of sustain with the Marticarus Soul, even the Ao Kuang if he finds the execute. This is a very healthy team from Pikachu eSports. My concern is their ranged lockdown is very much going to rely on the Emoja to hit these stuns in order to actually find targets, or the King Arthur / Kuang looping around. It's also not got very much that is going to massively lock down an Ares, especially if he chains that Arthur. That's a lot of the disruption on him down. My concern here is Pikachu eSports are going to both struggle to engage, but also disengage from the team that the Big C have drafted right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird comp. It's not something that I would have considered at all. When I'm thinking something like a double hunter comp, I mean, obviously Ares now would have came to mind. Fafnir, if we're going so many auto attackers, would have been interesting.
Yep.
It does bring up the option again that you do have kind of limited CC. So maybe someone that was really CC heavy. I'm not a big fan of the emoji here. This was clearly a comfort. This was played in game 1, but I also wasn't in love with it game 1 either. Like, I don't know. So I think they fumbled the draft a little bit here, Pikachu eSports. I don't mind it, but I much prefer the Big C comp by a country mile. So as long as they can get their damage off and Discordia is allowed to proc that anti-heal, I think this might be a GG over into the Big C.
Yeah, it's going to be how this Ao Kuang can get piloted, really. On the other side, I mean, we haven't spoken about the Nemesis really nice into King Arthur Umoja. Yeah, anyone who gets chained right now just gets ulted and dies. Let's see if Varus can continue the comeback, or whether Vexa is going to keep the pressure on and tie it up to a final game as we do go into game number 3 here. Casters, take it away.
Thank you, Desk. And yes, indeed, this could be it. It is match point. Pikachu eSports, 1 game away. The Big C just want to stay alive. Upper Division Grand Finals. My name's Anthony Malum, and I'm joined by Phoenix and Phoenix. They said it on Desk at the very end there, and I agree. This is going to come down to the jungles for me.
Ao Kuang, yeah, that's exactly what my thought was as well while they were talking, was you got to go ahead and get this Ao Kuang ahead or into a good position, and it's all going to be about how the first 10 minutes of this game goes. If there's more kills in the mid lane going the way of one or the other jungler, that's probably who you're going to favor as a whole team. And I think that in the game 1, it was Lana who said, oh, it's all about Ooh, speaking of middle lane dash, already dash is happening. A lot of them already.
Oh,
No
that was a
kills,
good catch.
though. Yeah, no kills. I want to say that Lena did say that jungle feels so strong in the meta right now. I think she's right. I think that's exactly what we're looking at here, though. Whichever jungler gets ahead can probably roll this game really quickly.
With an Ares solo, might need some support over there depending how these laning phases go. That's somebody who the Big C is going to be relying on to just stay an ever-present threat in these team fights. The Ares cannot simply ever disappear. They need it alive and they need it strong the entirety of this game to have a chance.
Yeah, I gotta start cooking up here as well because we have not seen a really good game yet from Petters.
Also, 2
and
missing
this-
recipes. Sorry to spit that out.
Oh yeah, 100%. 2 missing recipes. What's wrong with people in the day and age? That's the new. You're buying items in the wrong order. It's dev gloves into your starter item. It's like, what's going on? What's wrong with you? 2 no recipes. Once again, it's free real estate. Why don't you go ahead and do it? Speaking of free real estate, a first possible blood here on Dalry.
Albie's trying to get away from it. The damage is good, but not quite good enough. So Albie going to escape. Now the jungle show up too. Berkson gets aggressive, has to dash back. Meanwhile, Varus took the safe approach, took no poke from a needless fight, and was able to walk away. So safety for the time being in that duo lane. But it looks like that's our hint. In both games, we've seen pretty quickly where the junglers intend to spend their time. And with that showing, that duo lane could be the place to watch this game. I mean, we've heard it from Des, we've seen it in chat. Petters getting Danzaburo, maybe that's what can give the Big C a chance at a Game 5. And Pikachu eSports, they probably do know that, and they are prepared to respond and put pressure where pressure is needed.
Let's hope so. That's all you can hope for, is that the pressure will come. It has not come from the dual lane. Oh, I mean, Pikachu. You can see it's already down to half of its health, that tower is. And the pressure has to come even more because the jungler on that team is an Ao Kwang. Come level 5, Dragon's going to be taking people up into the air. Yeah, it's really time to start eating people up. And this is a good opportunity right here as well. That's a purple buff that is ripe for the taking for Pikachu eSports. Let's hope they don't leash it too long this time.
Yeah. Looks like they might not make that mistake this time, but they're being weird about it. They delayed it too long. They're still able to pick it up. So a successful purple invade that time for Pikachu eSports, and they needed it. And they take it away from Petters, who again got a comfort pick, and you want to take away any advantage that can happen there. If it was worth banning out in game number 1, then it's worth paying attention to in what is essentially game number 4. So where do we go from here? Phoenix, what are you looking for in this early game?
What I'm looking at is 2 war flags, which is, I think, have you already said something about that?
Oh, I just now noticed it because you pointed out. I was passing off to you behind the scenes. I was going to do my relic check, so I would have seen it in 2 seconds.
But yeah, that is 2 war flags, which is not a typical sight to see. Typically, you would see a heroism come out late game, or a guardian angel, whatever it's gonna be. It's not gonna be double war flag though. It's just currently gotten buffed a little bit, but not enough to be worth, I don't think, 2 purchases. It does somewhat stack, I guess, but not in 2 different ways. River Beaks will be off the mark entirely. Nothing there. But Peters is actually in the middle. I didn't even see it.
Yeah, you got baited by the Invis, and it's gonna be a first blood. Just a matter of who gets dropped. It's gonna be both of them. It's a double first blood for Pikachu eSports. Exactly how you want to start off match point. You cannot beat that. You cannot deny how important getting kills on your Ao Kwang is. The Big C need to buckle up now.
I thought this was about to be a 5-minute, but here's a gank into the mid lane, dashing away is Discordia. That's really nice to have. Hovering Death from above is ready for Marticarus if he would like to use it here, but will not be forced to use it. Nemesis is getting out pressured. We talk it's gonna be about the junglers here, and right now Ao Kwang and our looking Varus seeming like might control this. As you can see, that's exactly what's happening. Running away is the Nemesis, but a 1v1 is occurring in the mid lane. Varus is here to possibly kill, the Golden Apple will come out as well as Death from above.
Nice time, Death from above, to avoid that Apple of Discord. Verxa and Varus gonna throw a couple blows. Could be trouble, but dual lane now may be more worthy of attention because Petters was stepped up, but not gonna be a fight there either. So kind of across the map, tiptoeing around fighting it. There's an interest, but then there's nerves. There's more interest and more nerves, and everybody backs away. They started up again. And my worry for the Big C, who cannot lose this game, is that playstyle benefits the team comp of Pikachu eSports. Do have some action in the solo side of the map, though, as some trouble for King Arthur. Verxa now having to be the one to escape, though, and going to get eaten alive. That's another kill for the Ao Kuang. 2 for Varus on the landing. Will they go aggressive again? Blue buff will be the target. They'll take it in the face of Seagull. No escape going to be used on WhatsApp user. Going to bring him back to the tower. Chain that follows. Could be a death, but with Varus there, Seagull cannot commit. So it's going to be an escape for the King Arthur. Still no kills for the Big C. And now they have a really dangerous Ao Kuang.
That's a bad thing about having a Ganesha and an Ares on your team. King Arthur had no other choice but to go Oni Hunter's first item, and it made total sense. That's what you have to do if you're up against 2 magical.
Same thing with the beads.
Yeah, it's just the wisest choice you can make is counter an Ares immediately. Look at this tower. It's only 6 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, and Soul ADC is schmelting that tower.
Soul ADC, but honestly, like, Petters keep a tower challenge, you know?
Yeah. Keep your eyes open, Petters challenge. I mean, where can you get an opportunity as a Donza Bro ADC? Thankfully, only a level behind this time, not 3 or 4 levels behind. I think last time I counted to 5 at the 15-minute mark was how many levels Petters was behind versus, I think it was, what was last game, ADC for Krakito? It was Izanami, the crit Izanami coming out super early. And so this time looking a bit better as far as levels go, but that will be a 7-minute tower going into the favor of Pikachu. Not only the kills going their way, but also just the gold. Everything just seems to be falling into their hands. If they can keep this rolling this way, no problem for Ao Kuang to keep nom-nomming people up into the air.
100%. And okay, now I've got a real bone to pick. Because Verxa not only did not pick up a recipe, but Verxa picked up Golden Blade. You can essentially get Golden Blade for free.
And as Sprinters just said, no beads.
A recipe doesn't.
Yeah, you're getting eaten every single day by an Ao Kuang.
This is a
You're so frustrated to be that nemesis right now, and I'm guessing that she's probably kind of upset with herself, not only for not getting a recipe, but also, I mean, she can get a recipe right now if she wanted to. That's the other thing. She has the opportunity to get it every single time.
Yeah, you may as well go a different one now.
Yeah, you can go the tank one if you wanted to. There was a day and age where everyone went Guardian Boots, but another invade from Pikachu eSports, and they're kind of just running the entire map, especially the duo side right now.
We'll see if the Big C can respond to that invade. There is some action mid as well versus lurking. Varus getting aggressive. Demon coming around the corner. It's going to be a stun on Raiden. Could be in trouble. Down below half. We'll go for the retreat, and we'll be all right. Nemesis going to head back to solo just to make sure that Seagull can get a blue buff for once, which is a nice change of pace for Seagull, certainly. But yeah, it's hard not to harp on it, because harping isn't always fun. But when a team makes it to finals, that's a team that was able to beat everybody else out and sit there and be a good team throughout a season. And to get there and to make a mistake like that surface level, I mean, is it a big deal? When you really think about it, yes, it is. Could have been a lot of value in not picking up that Golden Blade, getting more damage online early, and picking up the golden gooseberries. Is that what it is? It's a wild name.
Yeah, you're basically got it. Just gives you more of what ADCs really like, which is basically golden bow. Back in the day, we talked about season 2 a lot, season 3. This is a golden bow situation. You know Golden Blade, you see it on Nemesis right now. It does damage to the minions or gods next to the target that you hit. It does it about 20% of the damage that you do to that target. Exact same way, it's 30% damage to an area with the golden gooseberries, or whatever it's called. And it does a little area of effect damage to 30% of the damage that you do to the initial target. Exactly the same thing, just with a recipe. But I want to talk about a lot of cooking going on right now, because a little bit too much cooking going on from the ADC lane. Petters is going Death's Toll this time. So we have gone 3 different starter items and 3 different games. Just does not know what to go, but we're still going Aussie. A lot of life still out of that build.
Yeah, this sets a mental marathon, not a sprint, it seems.
Yeah.
Krakito's in some trouble in dual lane, but is healing up quickly, just soul things, and gets the shield on top of that, so we'll be able to get away. At 10 minutes and 30 seconds, 3-0 is the kills currently for Pikachu eSports. 2-1 is the record of the set. Best of 5. Gold Fury being started, could be taken Albie close by. Berksa blinks through, but Pikachu Esports will get themselves the gold. Fury, nothing the Big C could do about it.
If that was the point of the blink, it has already failed. If you got that instead of beads, right now the winner is the Ao Kuang. I think Pikachu wants to keep fighting this because Alibi is just standing there, but also their purple buff is up again. We know how much this team loves their purple buff, especially this Ao Kuang looking at a Donza Burrow. River's Rebuke is out.
Servant somehow just face tanking all of this and not being phased whatsoever. I guess just Yamoja thing, so a bit of prophetic cloak online, just no damage taken, and the Big C couldn't make anything happen there. They had to walk away, and with Pikachu Esports being in the driver's seat that they are, the Big C has not been great to respond. I mean, the 2-level lead in jungle is significant to give to an Ao Kuang.
We gotta send Peters back to South Hall, go get an Indian dish of some sort because he needs to spice up his life just a little bit here and possibly get some kills because right now the last 2 games have not gone his favor whatsoever. We would love to see an ADC come from the Big C, and right now it just feels like more a jungle game, and we said it would be a jungle game, but it doesn't mean that you can't just be an ADC the entirety of the game. I do like exactly what Krakito is doing again, which is 2 levels ahead, farming like a madman, and has made the appropriate rotations, the appropriate fights to make their team go farther forward. And as I said, farther forward, here's a Stygian Beacon being unchallenged by the Big C, and so they're starting to be the big cowards.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. It feels like the Big C have just kind of let this game get out of hand for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
Pikachu Esports should not be allowed to be this comfortable. They should not be allowed to make every decision, make every play, do anything they want, and the Big C are just accepting it. And it's match point of a finals. They gotta pick it up somehow. Seagull gonna get ganked in solo, no escape in response. They might want to go to it, they will go to it. They're gonna do some good damage, but Seagull's ready to tank it. Buying time for Verks to get over. Apple Discord gonna hit as well. It's gonna find a home onto WhatsApp user. Varus in some trouble, gonna get caught out, and Raiden's gonna find the kill onto the Ao Kuang. They could find one on WhatsApp user as well, and they will. Only took 4 people in that soul lane to get an even fight. And the Big C win a team fight, get themselves 2 kills in pocket, and say thank you very much. Who cares it took 4?
Yeah, there's nothing to be too sad about it. That was a really good play, and they're looking a lot more confident now. The Big Confident. And we switched very quickly from the Big Cowards to Big Confidence. And the mid tower being poked down. Last couple of base attacks were coming out from Servant, but will not get the kill. And the target now is Demon. No Discord Apple to come out from the mid laner Discordia, and this is a 1v1 purple attack on the left hand side of your map, but also a 2v3 going the way of the Big C in the mid lane.
It's so odd, Phoenix. I mean, we're seeing the same thing. It's like both teams have this interest in fighting. That was like a North American rocket. Petters is making me feel at home all of a sudden. Fight breaking on the mid lane as well. Full group up in mid. Petters going to be in trouble in duo. Raiden going to find a kill on a demon in the mid lane. Petters could be eaten alive. No ultimate required from Varus to pick out the Danzaburrow there. So Pikachu Esports keep the lead. They make it 4-3. And you know, it probably, rightfully so, feels like we're harping very harshly on the Big C and on Petters. But realistically, you know, it's grand finals. They've got to clean things up. We're here to see a grand finals match, and it's there. They can do it. Can they is the question. Albie's in some serious trouble. Could get away. Dark Pillars used, but nom right there for Varus. Albie's going to be taken out. Verxa was able to find WhatsApp user, so another kill for the Big C. They're keeping up with kills. It's kind of everything else that's going bad.
Maybe WhatsApp should start using a different messenger type. That might actually end up being a bit better for him throughout the rest of this game. Pyromancer is still standing as far as I can tell, correct? It's on the minimap right there. So is Gold Fury. Objectives have been the name of the game the last 2 games. This game instead, the name of the game is just being kind of not clean fights. Fights that are going 1-1 or maybe even 2-1 sometimes, favoring either Pikachu or the Big C. Kind of who knows where fights are going to end up going. Once Ares makes the rotation into these fights, it's going to be a much more difficult place to be in if you're Pikachu Esports, because of course Ares ultimate is one of the biggest ultimates in the entire game, and you have to beads it, you have to use your ultimate, you have to get out of it. But then what are you going to do when you get ulted by Nemesis? What are you going to do when you get Dharmic Pillars? What are you going to do when Danzaburo gets in his rocket? There has to be an answer after the Ares ultimate and after Dharmic Pillars for Pikachu Esports to come out prevailing in these team fights.
So one thing I want to ask you about. Currently, stats look okay for the solo of the Big C and Seagull. And Seagull has been a strength for the Big C so far in this set. I would say one of their shining stars, honestly. But the build is really interesting. What do you think the path is here? We might have to get your answer after this potential team fight, but I'm really curious what this build path will end up being and where the headspace of Seagull is. Purple buff invade comes out for Pikachu Esports. They will get the purple, and they're going to step towards Primal, so hold on to that question. Phoenix is Big C also around, could contest. Primal going to be called off if they had an interest due to the presence of Big C. Bit of a dance so far. Oracle's in question. Big C step away. No more interest in fighting Pikachu Esports. That could open up that Primal Fury that I keep talking about. Big C step back as soon as they step in. This is an interesting one. It's like they hear me.
Yeah, they're watching the stream right now, even though there's like a 50 or more second delay happening between us and them. Pyromancer and Goldfree are both standing. You asked me a question about build. I love the Pridwin pickup that just happened right there. Also, I love the Pathetic Cloak pickup. Both of these items are R items. Keep in mind that Ares passive is made for R items. The more R items the more damage you do. Is that correct? Did I do that right?
Yeah, look at you.
I think that's right. More damage.
Ares math.
Yeah, right here. I'm gotta make sure that I'm doing it right because sometimes it's always more protections, but that's a different god that does that. But you were talking about Gold Fairy, and there it is. I do like this Ares build, and I like the Oni Hunters pickup.
Oh, almost a great play. Finally, almost a turnaround for Pikachu Esports, and to get themselves a Primal Fury. Death from above, forced out from Demon, but the damage and response is pretty good. Big C getting forced away. Reverse Rebuke used, and Verxa in trouble, able to dash away into the green buff pit, but is in a lot of trouble. Gonna get picked up from Varus, who is able to save his ultimate. That leaves room to use the ultimate in the ensuing fight. No escape used, that's gonna pull in potentially more people, but doesn't get them pulled in. Execute still available, it's gonna be used, but not gonna pick up Albi. That's gonna be a death for Big C. 2 dropped, double kill for Varus, 3 gone. They just won't stop. Pikachu Esports can be unmatched. They can do anything they want in these team fights, and there's nothing the Big C can do to stop it. That's a triple kill for Varus. He'll run forward, a Riptide will keep him away, and Kirkado will steal the Quadra, but a Deicide finds Pikachu Esports. They just are dominating the Big C. The big collapse is the big catastrophe. They're just falling apart at the seams.
You gotta ask Verxa, what happened right there? Why were you so deep while your team was backing up? It must have been a miscommunication on the side of Big C because they were so split that entire fight. 1 was going in, 3 were backing up, and 1 was standing in between. What do we gotta do for the Big C? We gotta be cohesive and understanding of where each other are going to be because this is quickly flowing out of your way. It was a much closer game about 5 minutes ago. I would have said, hey, Big C have a really big chance here to go ahead and take this into their favor. I was talking about the scariness of Ares, the scariness of Ganesha. You know, 2 Guardians on your team, it could be something. You actually get something out of it. But with fights like that, it's never going to work out in your favor. We have to go ahead and group up. And we talk about it in the SD all the time. Me and Dilo do. PIMDOS. It's all about PIMDOS. And we cannot avoid it. Anthony, you would not get away with a cast with me without me saying it.
You know, I was just thinking that too. I was like, oh, okay. We haven't heard that yet. But yeah, there it is. And let me ask you, Phoenix, where in PEMDOS do 4-level leads come into play for the jungle and the ADC? Because that's a problem. And, you know, I actually thought it was used, but I looked after the fight. And the fact that Varus almost got a Quadra kill and did not have to use his ultimate is disgusting.
Ao Kwang to the T. That's what you get when you play Ao Kwang, especially a basic attack ability, or ability-based, Ao Kwang, is you kind of just use your 3 and your 2 and send dragons flying people's way, you get kills. There's T2 down the left-hand side, thanks to
presence.
A ton of it. That's all it is.
They made a
rotation.
diagonal line, and the Big C are just gonna walk right at Pikachu Esports. There's the ultimate from Varus. It's a nom nom nom. Goodbye, Ray Dunn. WhatsApp user gonna find Albi. That's more problems for the Big C. Double kill for Varus. They just can't be stopped. Al Kwong's unstoppable, and the Big C can just retreat. And Pikachu eSports won't stop marching forward. Triple kill for Varus. WhatsApp user gonna find the deicide. Pikachu eSports, what more can you say? They're gonna get the Phoenix 2. They're one game away, and they've got the courage to step into the throne room, but respawn timers aren't significant. The Titans are already at half. There's no way they can take the title in their face, but they're gonna do it! Trainers rise up! Pikachu eSports find their way to the Hall of Fame. They take the Upper Division Finals in a catastrophic way. Congratulations to Pikachu eSports. An insane ending, a deserved ending. Desk team, take us away and give them the congratulations they deserve.
And there we go. Pikachu eSports taking it home completely out of nowhere, just blitzing 2 team fights and deciding, yeah, we're done playing with our food now. Let's win. I mean,
Yeah,
Varys certainly turned it around from game 1. Was it 8-1, 9-1 at the end there on the Alquan? Just demolishing the Big C.
yeah, it's almost like Varus game 1 was almost learning the backline's mannerisms, and as soon as he learned them, he was like, you know what, looks good here. Just carrying the next 2 games. Wasn't even close after that, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, didn't even do that much damage if we're really looking at it. I mean, 2k more than the Nemesis, it's really not that impressive in terms of actual, like, damage output. It's just the fact that the Big C just got completely ran at, and they had no response on how to actually handle it and fix it. I mean, I guess, and to be fair, their team comp isn't really meant for getting ran at either. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
I think,
good try to Big C, but best play over Pikachu eSports.
yeah, I think one of the major problems is, and this is what we saw in the 2 games that Pikachu won, was just the complete ignorance around duo lane. And both
Mhm.
times we've seen Krikito get a 4 or 5 level lead. In fact, in this one, a 6 level lead, and you're thinking, well, this is an ADC, like especially a Soul. This is one of the more snowbally magical carries in the game. You let it get ahead. Same thing with it as an army. It's a snowbally carry, but if it gets a hop behind, it's not going to be very relevant. And there was just no focus on stopping the onslaught. And I think
Mhm.
that was arguably one of the biggest downfalls of the Big C this game, was that they just let Krikito farm. For all that Varus did, I mean, Krikito was massive.
Yeah, I mean, and as soon as we got some ganks over to the soul lane, it just allows it to slip more, right? Like we saw a 4-man rotation over for Seagull, but did we ever get even a 2-man rotation over for Petters?
No, this is
Once?
what I mean. And Seagull wasn't even behind that badly. Like, he'd lost a couple of
No.
blues, but come on, he was a level down in comparison to 3 from the ADC, who was
Yeah.
watching his purple get taken as he did back camps, which, it is far from ideal.
Yeah, when you know you're allowed to have a whole team sitting at your purple buff waiting for it to spawn, you know the game's not fun for the ADC. I mean, yeah, that's what happens when you pick Donzaburo.
Yeah, you definitely have the chance to get snowballed. We are hearing, though, there is the chance of player interviews this evening. We are currently bringing in Ryan's Pikachu eSports. Congratulations on the win. A very
Thank you, man. Thank you.
dominant season from the team. After game 1, were there any sort of doubts or nerves in the back of your mind about what might happen in the rest of it?
I was a little worried, but we got Demon on the comfort pick, and I got some stronger picks. We sort of prioritized my picks a bit more after they picked 2 gods that I might have played and also triple van me, and it went a bit better for me in the solo lane, and I was feeling a bit more confident after that. But yeah, we're a bit nervous after the first game. I'll say
Yeah.
the fog has cleared after game 1.
Was the fog a little bit red? Was there a mist of anger at all, or is it just a case of we know what we got to do better?
Yeah, we
Meow.
kind of picked some more pressure in the duo lane. I won through that a little bit. it went well for us.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, as we were just saying, there was almost no focus in response from there. Crickito had an absolute masterclass in those last 2 games, especially. But I mean, some said that from the start, the draft that you had was a little bit criminal.
Like that?
Just a smidge bit. Now, it has been a common theme with UD that a lot of people, they just pick who they want to play with for a season.
Mhm.
I mean, with friends who are that good, I mean, I don't think you really care who the enemies are. It's so dominant. I mean, you must be absolutely chuffed.
Oh yeah, I was very happy to get on the team with such a strong first pick and captain.
Yeah. Well done. If any of the other casters or desk have anything to add, please do. Because all I can do is sort of shout praise towards Pikachu. They've been absolutely
I mean,
fantastic.
yeah, I just want to shout out Demon for subbing in every single game that we played and doing a great job. He just did amazing. I'm so happy with him.
Yeah, incredible. I've played with Demon before. He's definitely got the ability. I did say as soon as that Marty went in, it's like, yeah, get him on a hunter. He'll be good to go.
True demon energy, honestly. What do you think of him as a sub?
Of Demon, sorry?
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of just does his job. He plays what we want him to play.
Yeah.
He doesn't int. You can't really ask much more of him. He does a great job.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Brilliant. Ryan's, congratulations.
you, man.
Overall, that is now 4 finals where Albie still hasn't won.
No. Oh, no.
Again, this is Prentice who's asked me to shout this one out. The other thing that I have been asked to shout out before we bid you all farewell this evening is that the fantasy tournament sign-ups are currently out. The tournament is this Saturday, 2nd of September. If you wish to take part in this, you must sign up. Captains for this, if you wish to sign up, they are still open. You are given a budget.
No, man, it's not my fault.
Player
Okay. Bruh.
is given a value, and with that, you bid on the players, and teams will then battle it out to see who will win the tournament. Now, my only question for this, because personally this might change whether I sign up, how long is this event meant to go on? What sort of time is this due to start? Mr. Printers, please fill us in.
It's shit. What is the start time? It's on Saturday. Saturday, September 2nd. It's one night thing. I believe the start time will be about 6 p.m. BST, I want to say, but it could be earlier. I wouldn't imagine it'll be later. I will post details on that in the Fantasy Tournament channel in the Discord. Join that if you haven't already. More information will be posted when I can be asked.
And there you have it, folks. So, Smite is not quite over for GSL yet this season. We've got the fantasy tournament coming up. If I'm thinking correctly, we also have another final still to be played. So, Friday evening, get yourselves in here for, well, this time will be the Harpy Division final. So, going from the top players in the league to those who've been maybe signed up late or didn't get picked up initially, but they have now got the chance to show their value, maybe move up the divisions. For now, though, it has been myself and Lana on the desk, Anthony Malum and Phoenix doing the wonderful job of casting, Printers with some shoddy production as always. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, folks, and we will see you Friday for the next one. Good night.
Meow, 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 meow. Okay, that's all of them. You don't get another Meow Albie because you can't win a fucking final.